We are rolling.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Creative Businessmen. On today's episode, we have artist Jenna Rice with us.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure.
This is
Sure.
exciting. You have a great studio.
Thank you. Yeah, try to keep it professional.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Unfortunately, Daniel can't be here yet, but he'll catch up with us
All
when he
right.
gets here.
Awesome.
So I saw one of your pieces at Common Grounds Coffee Shop in Greensboro. I do some writing over there, and
Oh, cool.
I asked the owner, one of the owners, whose artwork that was. It was
Was it Dusty or Michelle?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm friends with them.
Okay, cool. And it was a painting of Bill Murray. Yeah, it was a really cool painting of Bill Murray.
Thanks. Yeah, that was my first attempt at doing that kind of style of acrylic painting.
Right.
And I started doing that in Greensboro, and I really enjoyed it. It was great, and it's still my favorite, and it was my first one. I've done a series of other celebrities after that.
Oh, cool.
And I'm still kind of working on other things as well. But yeah, actually that Bill Murray painting, I have a YouTube channel as well under Jenna Rice Art.
Okay.
And that painting in particular is actually my hottest video. It has like over 12,000 views or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's my hottest video. So, of me painting it. It's like a kind of a painting with value.
Yeah.
Value and color. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. It was
Sort of
painting value and color. Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Sorry, I started. I'm like getting nervous. Like, the studio's really cool.
Have you? I know you said you do a lot of oil painting. Mm-hmm. Have you tried that style in oil? I think it looked cool with like the chunky.
It would, yeah. The thing about that is I decided to do acrylic mainly because it dries faster.
Right. Yeah.
And the paint is cheaper.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and I could, just bang a painting out much quicker that way.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the day that I finished it, like I posted it on Instagram, and like 30 minutes later or something. This is before I was really, really good friends with Dusty and Michelle. And I got a message from Dusty saying, I want it.
Yeah.
So it sold pretty much instantly after I painted it. It was cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think it would look really cool in oil. It would just it'd be a little bit more time consuming, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And time is money, so I'm trying to work with that as best I can.
Now you went to college for art, correct?
I did. I had my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Studio Art.
Nice.
And I graduated from Florida Southern College in 2012. I would have graduated 2011, but I switched my major 3 times. I didn't know I was going to be an artist. It just kind of happened.
Wait a minute, that's really funny. My mom graduated with an art degree from Florida Southern.
Nuh-uh.
Just really funny. Yeah, way back in the day, but still
Wow,
pretty
really?
crazy. Yeah,
Oh, that's
strange.
so cool.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Suzanne Delorier now was Suzanne Knight.
Oh, wow.
I guess back then Suzanne Dawsey. Sorry, 2 marriages.
Oh, okay. All right.
Awesome.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I'll have to have maybe my professor from there. Maybe he knows of her
It was
or something.
it was in the 50s, so it was a while.
Well, I worked in the gallery.
60s.
I worked in the college art gallery, so maybe she had like a piece or something back there when I
She
was
might have.
kind of going through the archives.
They were kind of, it was during the 60s, and she was kind of famous there for starting like a little student protest, and the people were angry about like art showing nudity, so what they did was they went around to the statues that were naked on campus, hypocrite much, and they painted clothes on them.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, honestly, now it's like I took so many figure drawing and figure painting classes. Like, honestly, the more nudity, the better in art. I mean, if you're conservative, I mean, you can't really be an artist. It's just
Because you have to learn anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did. I had to memorize every bone and muscle in the body. We had like a bone test and we had a muscle test. And so there was a model there, and we had to either draw or paint, whether it was figure drawing or figure painting. We did more figure drawing, actually. We had to draw not just the model. Like, we had to do like the outline of the model, but then also draw the skeleton.
Oh, okay, cool.
And label all of the bones and label all of the muscles. We had to draw all the muscles and all the striations of the muscles that be going in the right direction. And we had to also, my professor, Bill Otremsky, William Otremsky, but Bill Otremsky, call him Bill. He's like a figure painting genius. It's amazing. He's so good. Still a mentor of mine. We still text sometimes.
Awesome.
I keep in touch. But I had to spell everything correctly. He was a stickler for spelling. And I thought that was great because I'm like, wow, I'm a naturally good speller. This is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so I always aced those tests. That was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I miss it. I do.
So when did you? I'm guessing you were always into art, though, right? Even as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid. I grew up. I grew up in a family that was always, you know, embracing like the arts. So like I mean, my mom always dabbled in arts and crafts and stuff. You know, I always like to joke that she's like Martha Stewart without the jail time. Yeah. You know, so she liked, you know, crafting and cooking and like, you know, doing crafts with me, clay, paint, you know, all those sorts of things. So I'm grateful that she always did that with me. And then, you know, my dad also he would draw with me as well. And I grew up a Hasbro kid, I like to call it. So I was born in Portland, Maine.
Oh, okay.
My entire extended family's from Maine. So I guess I'm a maniac. That's what we call ourselves. And my parents moved to Pawtucket, Rhode Island when I was, I don't know, 6 months old or so. You know, so I didn't really grow up in Maine. Just so my dad could work at Hasbro.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you really were a Hasbro kid.
I was a Hasbro kid, yeah. And so my dad used to actually hand draw the package designs for like G.I. Joe and stuff. So like, you know, we had a basement with like all of my free Hasbro toys. Like, you know, I mean, I wasn't like a rich kid or anything growing up by any means. You know, we had a tiny little house in Pawtucket, whatever, but I had all the cool toys.
Right.
So I didn't really need to watch much TV. I mean, I wasn't really allowed to watch much TV anyway, and I'm kind of grateful for that, honestly.
Yeah.
I had all the cool toys. It was fun.
So your dad was a professional artist. So
yeah.
Awesome.
He started doing graphic design before graphic design was a thing.
Oh, cool.
You know, it wasn't like a college degree yet or anything that. You know, my dad doesn't have his degree.
That's what my degree is in, is advertising and graphic design.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I guess back then you didn't really need one. He just he got into the business I think through his uncle, and then he transferred down to Hasbro, started doing drawings for them, package design stuff, and then when computers first came out, you know, we had like the first little dinky tiny little black and white screen computer and whatever. I remember that, but then he just started doing like real big designs and stuff, and now he works for a company called Packaging Consultants in New Bedford, Massachusetts. He's still up there, so I don't see him very often. It's kind of sad, but he does like work for like Titleist and FootJoy. He's done stuff for Disney.
Wow.
He started some designs for like the Super Bowl for like Bud Light. They had these like the stand-up things. And they didn't really follow through with it. It was like a last minute thing. And he's like, we can't do that like that quickly, you know? And anyway, long story short, but he was another really big impact in my life in art. You know, I started drawing at a very, very young age. And I used to draw like the little Marvel comic, you know, figures and stuff.
Like, I used to do the same thing.
Yeah. I can't remember like which superheroes I drew. Like there was this one female that I drew, but it wasn't Wonder Woman, I don't think. It's like, I don't know who it was. And anyway, I'm sure my dad would remember if I asked him, but I don't know. But I'm lucky to have parents that have always supported me in being an artist.
That's cool.
Because when I went to college, I originally went for journalism. And then I became an English major. And then after writing a 33-page paper, I took like this class, a drawing class, and it was just like for credit because I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm good at drawing. This could be cool.
Yeah.
And so it was like an outdoor kind of architectural drawing type thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you know, like we're famous for Frank Lloyd Wright architecture on that campus.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually won most beautiful campus in the nation 2 years in a row when I was in college there.
Nice. Wow.
It's beautiful school. And then I like to joke that they saw the art department. They changed their mind. Yeah, I think UMass is the one that won last time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, I went to do like an architectural drawing. So it was basically like trying to get perspective correct, looking down a hallway or stairwell or whatever. So I chose the stairwell. So I go up the stairs, and I had no idea like about the art department. I didn't know that the painting studio was up there. I didn't know my way around at all. I was just looking for something cool to draw.
Right. Yeah.
So I was out there with my drawing board, my easel, and mother, and this guy with this like long hair, and he just looks like an artist, but like a cool guy. Like he was always like super cool. I always looked up to him. Anyway, so he comes out, and I'd never seen this guy before, and he comes up to me, and he looks at me, he looks at my drawing, and he looks at me again, and he's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Hi, I'm Jenna." And he's like, "You're not an art major." And I was like, No, I'm not." He's like, "You need to be an art major. Hold on, I'll be back." So like he went to a meeting or whatever, and he comes back like maybe an hour or so later, and I'm still up there drawing. We get into some weird discussion about how we both have long toes. And then I became an art major. So,
wow, that's cool.
Long story short.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's cool that you had those roots too, though. Like I was always into art as a kid too, drawing and paint, and mostly just drawing for me. My dad drew and painted a lot.
Oh yeah.
And he worked with me and taught me some techniques and stuff.
What's your favorite kind of technique?
I really just like to create stuff, so it doesn't have to be like traditional media. It could be performance art or entertainment-based stuff, like new media type stuff.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same. I love making videos, obviously the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of sad that I haven't put any effort into my YouTube channel in a while, but I want to.
Right.
So, but yeah.
I love digital art too. I enjoy. I just like art in general.
Yeah,
Anything creative.
Yeah, some people just have that creative edge. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
I feel like you're either born with it or you're not.
Right. Yeah.
Analytical mind or
I kind of have both. So.
Okay, well it's good. You gotta have a balance.
But I can really focus on something for a long period of time and get into it. And I feel like art is just different mediums. So depending on what you're trying to create, you just find a way to make whatever your idea is a reality. So you just have to experiment.
Yeah. I can't regularly focus on like day-to-day stuff, like normal things.
Yeah.
Like I have ADHD like crazy. It's awful. I mean, it runs in my family. But the great thing about having ADHD is people like us, I guess we can hyper focus on the things that we do care about.
Yeah.
So, I can be in my studio for 14 hours straight with nothing but a Red Bull and some hummus.
Right. Yeah.
And just like go. And like the only breaks that I take are to use the restroom,
Yeah.
It's pretty neat how I can hyper focus like that.
I think a lot of artists are like that.
Yeah,
I can do that with writing too. If I'm writing, I can sit for hours and I'll just write until I'm sick.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love writing too, and I'm kind of sad I haven't done that in a while. I'm interested in all these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I kind of have changed mediums over time.
Sure.
Art wise.
I think a lot of creative people are like that though. You really get in that flow state, and there's something really satisfying about being in that state and then creating something. And it's painful too, sort of.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like after you've been there for a long time and you're really working hard on something, but when you finish it, it's very rewarding.
Absolutely.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Finishing a project is it's like a high that I get off of that. I just love it. I just love that post on Instagram. I just like clicking post. It's not necessarily about seeing how many people like it so fast, which when that does happen, that's cool. But just having it done and on the internet, quickly.
There's something rewarding about creating something cool and seeing people appreciate it, enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's everything, right? I mean, everything in society is just ideas. There's millions of ideas that come together to make all this stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, creativity. I'm interested in all of it. I want to do all of it.
Yeah.
There aren't enough hours in the day.
Right. That's my biggest fear in life is there's so many things I want to do, and I know I won't have time to do them.
Right. You want to write a novel?
I don't want to write a novel,
No?
but I like to write screenplays and
okay. Well, that's really
Yeah.
cool. Screenplays.
Yeah.
I dabbled in a little bit of acting in high school. So let me know.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
But I love all of it. All the creative stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And actually, I think with the direction of technology, I think creative fields are a good place for kids to focus because
Absolutely.
a lot of your regular jobs are going to be replaced with automation, AI.
Yeah. I feel like entrepreneurs are growing. Less people are wanting to go to school and go get a 9-to-5 job at some office building.
Right.
You know, I can't imagine doing that.
Oh,
you know? Like,
I've had to, but
I feed
like
off
it.
the chaos. I love it. I love chaos. It's awful, but I love it.
No, it's exciting.
It keeps me excited on my toes, you know.
And if you're a person that's self-motivated, it's very rewarding. Mm-hmm. If you're not, then you should probably get a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Very self-motivated. Yeah, I guess I kind of realized that, you know, as a young child, it's like my mother would tell me random things like, you know, I never had to tell you to clean your room. You just, like, for whatever reason, you were just motivated to do it.
I was never motivated to clean my room.
It was weird. But I would clean it, but I would let it would get messy.
Yeah.
But it would, like, she would say, but whenever it got to a certain point, you would just fix it. And then I'd, like, rearrange my room.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just,
I didn't have a choice. I just had to keep it clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. My brother was the one that was yelled at for that. Sorry, Zach. Anyway. But.
That's funny.
But yeah, self-motivation. People try to look for motivation, and I don't really believe in that. I feel like you can't really find it. You just need to kind of do what you enjoy.
That's true.
It comes automatically, you know.
I think if you're a creative person, you can find inspiration in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of times I'll just see something or maybe even read something or think about an idea, and then it inspires me to create something else or something based on that.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what happens with a lot of my commissions, like a lot of the commissioned murals that I've been doing recently. Like, I'm a very versatile artist. Like, part of me gets upset about it sometimes because I haven't quite gotten to the point to where I have my own style, you know?
Yeah. Because
I'm interested in so many different styles. You know, I have my, like, Bill Murray acrylic painting. Well, I know you've been to Common Grounds recently, I'm sure. That Leonardo DiCaprio, that's a spray paint painting that I did as well. Okay. Spray paint on canvas. And, but like, I'm just interested in like all these different styles. It upsets me that I don't have my own style because they say the most popular artists of all time, you know, they all had a style. Like, you recognize Picasso, you recognize Rembrandt, you recognize all of these famous artists. Like, even today, you know, some of like the like modern day, you know, contemporary artists. They have a style about them. Certain graffiti artists I know have a style about them, you know.
I'm sure there's probably a style to your work, though.
That I don't realize yet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Other people say that they can recognize it over someone else's.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I love portraiture. I just did, you know, a 50-foot by 12-foot mural of, like, a landscape. Well, it was like a lakescape.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's beautiful, yes.
Yeah,
really cool.
Thank you, yeah. I had some people be like, oh, it looks like an oil painting. And I was like, oh, that's fun. So then I added that to my Instagram because I want to be recognized for something.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, maybe, you know, I could just I like to make murals that look like oil paintings because, you know, I started with oil paintings, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I'm still kind of like experimenting with different styles and stuff. And I'm not trying to push it because as you were saying before, like, I really learned a lot from every different kind of mural that I've done. Mm-hmm. I've learned what I enjoy doing more also. You know, like, I did love doing the lake scene. That was cool. It was extremely time consuming.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I didn't, like, you know, when I chose that image, I chose the image for it, you know, and I presented it to them because we had other ideas for what to put on there, you know, North Carolina related stuff and like all these different illustrative maps and things that we had ideas for. And I was like, oh, that's really not my style. I don't know if I could do that.
Kind of boring.
Yeah, and I'm also
very
not
commercial.
I'm also not an illustrator.
Right, yeah.
You know, there's a difference between a muralist and an illustrator that a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, you can do this. You can, like, you know, draw these people for my book and like cartoons and stuff. I was like, I don't do that. That's not.
Yeah, that's different.
What I do.
Yeah, you're more of like a fine artist.
Yeah. And that's how I've always been since, you know, college and stuff. I would, you know, always do figurative stuff. I got so wrapped up in figurative because I realized that I was good at it. Oh, well, not at first. Some of my first figure drawings are so funny.
Well, it's important to tell people that too, because it's you know, art is a lifelong process. Yeah. You're constantly improving certain things, and
absolutely, you could have a gift that you don't even know about.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
you have to put the hours in regardless.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at some of my first drawings and paintings, you'd be like, wow, you're really shitty. Like, that's awful. You know, like, that's terrible. Like really bad. I look at it now and I'm like, ugh. But it showed potential. Yeah. And that's what matters. And that's what I tell like high school kids and college kids and stuff. I'm like, you know, it's like, you're not going to be good at first. Like, even if you have natural talent, you have to, I guess, work at that talent, and you have to feed it and treat it well. And eventually you'll get better. I mean, whatever you do over and over again, you practice over and over.
It's neuroplasticity. Yeah, absolutely. You're training your brain to do those things, like to draw better lines. And
you get better at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how we can drive now, and we don't even think about it anymore. We just do it. Sometimes I'm on autopilot, and I go, you know, towards my studio or something, and I'm meant to go somewhere else, you know? But yeah, it's, I really want to like inspire people to realize this too, you know?
Yeah, most of the artwork that I do is abstract type stuff. It's it'll just come from ideas in my mind that don't really pertain to one thing, like one specific thing. But I recently did a digital drawing of like a sort of a abstract psychedelic landscape.
Oh, cool.
And but looking back at it, I'm like, you know, some of my lines are too thick and stuff. Like I want to go back and do another.
You're never satisfied.
Similar
as a real
drawing,
artist.
yeah, which and have really fine lines on all of it, you know. But yeah, there's always ways to improve, and every time you do a new piece of work, it's going to be better than the previous stuff.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting because, you know, you can see the progression.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. For example, like, so I painted the first place I ever spray painted in Greensboro was at the Bearded Goat downtown. It's like they call it a dive bar, but it's nicer. It's nicer than a dive bar. So I don't like calling it a dive. I used to work there too. I was a bartender there. I loved working there. And, you know,
is it still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, with the pandemic and everything, I was like,
kind of
worried,
bars
you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you know, but like, honestly, like it's such a popular spot. They opened, I mean, it's been 4 or 5 years. I don't know. I can't remember right now. Sorry, Seth. Exactly how long it's been open. But whenever I moved to North Carolina, I tried to get involved in the art scene because, you know, I kind of moved here on a whim. I had lived in Florida previously, and I was just kind of like trying to start over. And so I kind of reached out to some people, and I was invited to this kind of paint party that they had at the Bearded Goat, and it was like right after they'd opened. So like they had this patio outside. Have you been there?
I haven't been there.
Okay.
I need to check it out though.
Okay, yeah, it's a cool spot. It's a cool spot. Yeah. They have a really nice patio. They actually won like best patio in Yes cool. Weekly or whatever. Nice. Probably not the first time. It's a great patio. And so they invited me to this thing. Well, they said, "Oh yeah, you can come," but like nobody knew me. Nobody knew that I could paint, and I was gonna do like acrylic painting because I had never spray painted. Yeah. They invited me to like paint a picnic table there.
Okay.
And so then time went by, and I painted another picnic table and another one and another one. And at the time I was like, no, I'm never going to learn to spray paint. Everybody else is spray painting the walls and stuff.
Right.
The next time they had a paint party, you know, I went there, painted another table, and I was like, okay. And he's like, cause I was like, I'm not going to spray paint. That's stupid. I was like, I'm a fine artist. Fine artists don't spray paint. I'm like, what would my professor think of that? Like, he'd be like, what the fuck, you know? But I was like, okay. And then, sorry, I'm kind of like going back and forth. Not the best with stories.
It's good.
I'm trying. ADHD. Anyway, so so I started with the tables, and then one day I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna learn how to spray paint. And I watched several YouTube videos. I would watch, especially this David Popa is his name. He's on YouTube, and he did these like because I was trying to figure out what this transparent black spray paint was, and because like I was an oil painter, and I was like, oh, transparent, maybe that means like it's like a thinner kind of like so you can layer it and kind of get like shading, you know, so it's like kind of like charcoal, how you can shade and get like the really light, really dark, and you just layers, you know. And I still wasn't good with a spray can. I was like, why do they have like 100 different caps for these things? I don't understand. Like the female caps, the male caps, and I had to figure that out. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then I was like, it was a lot to figure out. Anyway, so I just like on a whim, I went there, and I told Seth, the owner of the Bearded Goat, I was like, hey man, can I hop the wall and like spray paint? You know, I was already working there, I think, as a bartender. I was working there as a bartender. And he's like, you know, before they open, I was like, yeah, it was like 100 degrees out that morning. And I hopped the wall, and it was like 8:30 in the morning. It was like summertime. And I go out there, and I decided to try my first attempt at spray painting like a realistic thing.
Yeah.
So I decided to naturally do a goat,
okay.
you know, for the goat. And I found this like really cool photo on Google. It's like it was actually labeled majestic goat. He's majestic. He looks beautiful. But so I painted this, and it came out so good. And I was so frustrated when I was doing it, though. Like, I was cussing at myself. I was like, transparent white, bullshit. This is too white. And I was like, trying to learn the techniques. Trying to learn the paint, you know, shaking the can. And I realized I wasn't shaking the can enough, and it was spitting, and I was frustrated. It's always frustration trying to figure out a new medium.
Right, yeah.
You know, and I'm very hard on myself. So when I'm not good at something, I get upset.
I understand that, yeah.
But yeah, in like 3 hours, I banged out this goat. And it's on my Instagram. And then just recently, I went back there for another one of those paint jams.
Yeah.
And I decided to, and I didn't know what to paint. I was like, oh, I don't know, like, I want to do another realistic something, because that's just what I do. I feel like if I did anything else, I feel like it would look weird. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just my thing. And so I was like, well, we're a dog-friendly bar. So what if I find just a really happy picture of a dog?
Yeah.
So, you know, I went on Adobe stock. I have like a, you know, Adobe account, whatever. And I found a good like stock photo of a dog. He just looked so happy. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know if he's a lab or like what kind of dog he was. But so I did this one in color. I did the goat in black and white. And that was like a little over a year ago. And just recently I did this dog. And they're side by side, like on the patio.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you can see them side by side, because it's like you can see that progression.
Right, yeah.
That's what I was getting at, the progression of it. It's like now I know how to use all like the fancy stencil caps, so I can get those super thin lines. Like I could get the whiskers on the dog, and like the different variations of colors of pink on his tongue and things like that.
That's
you know,
cool.
It's just, and I'm proud of it. I'm excited that, you know, I'm progressing.
Right, yeah.
But I'm still not where I want to be. I want to get better. I'm not perfect. Yeah. By any means.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Every time you do it, you'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to Greensboro?
Well, I mean, it's a complicated story, but I mean, I went to college in Florida, as you know. I started bartending at like 18 in Florida, and so like I bartended my way through college. Not that I paid for the college, because honestly, Florida Southern is like exorbitantly expensive. I'm gonna be paying that one off for a long time. But yeah, so I kind of stayed down there bartending for a while. I lived in Florida pretty much on and off a little bit, but for 8 years.
Yeah.
I left, went up to Massachusetts for a little while, decided I didn't want to do that. It's like I left and it was like 7 degrees outside. I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
I'm done. I can't do it. I went back there, started working for the college. But anyway, so yeah, I left there because about a year before, my mom and my bonus dad, I like to call him. I don't say stepdad because it sounds like stepping. Just sounds
kind of
bad.
a negative. Yeah,
it has a negative connotation to it, because you think it's like someone stole my mom. He's like, no, it's not like, you know, he's great. Like Mickey's amazing. He's a, you know, he's really good.
It's good.
Good to have in the family. You know, good to have in the fam. Anyway, but yeah, so they moved here like a year prior, and I had visited a couple times, or just once, I think, to where they are now. They live in Whitsett.
Oh, okay, yeah. Close to here.
Yeah, Whitsett. So like Stony Creek, you know.
Yeah, it's like, what, 20 minutes up, 40?
Yeah, it's like on your way to Burlington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, one exit in, one exit out. You know, there's like a Food Lion and like a shitty Italian restaurant and like a couple little places. And
typical small town stuff, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like tiny town stuff, yeah. Township.
Nothing there.
Yeah.
But they're retired. They're just like hanging out there now.
That's
but
cool.
yeah, so they moved there. I liked the area, and then like I visited Greensboro a bit, and I really I saw an opportunity,
It's a good art community in Greensboro.
Yeah. And I did kind of wind up in a rough living situation in Florida. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but I got into a rough living situation where I just kind of like packed up my little car. Like I had like a little Dodge Dart. Never get a Dodge Dart, please. Oh, they're awful. Anyway, I had a lot of issues with it. Anyway, so I, packed my little car full of everything that I could. Even took some of my paintings off of their frames, rolled them up, threw them in there. Said, wow. how much shit can I fit in this spot? And I drove here. I got here September 4th, 2015.
Okay, so fairly recent. 6 years ago.
Yeah, almost 6 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long already.
Time goes by fast.
It really does.
Yeah. Especially the older we get because we have less of it.
I was about to say that too.
It's the perception of time, right? It's relative.
Yeah, I'm in my 30s now. I know I moved here in my 20s, starting out. But I saw an opportunity in Greensboro. I did see some murals. I mean, so many more murals are in the past 6 years.
They're everywhere now, yeah.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's cool.
And I know several people who never used to spray paint, kind of like I did, that they decided to start spray painting because they saw an opportunity in it.
Right, yeah.
Mainly, I mean, I also saw, later on, I saw an opportunity in, making it a full-time gig.
Yeah.
But I've been a full-time artist for over a year now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day. St. Patty's Day was my anniversary.
Exciting.
Of being a full-time artist.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Full-time artist, full-time entrepreneur.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't even get any stimulus checks.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm still kind of working on my taxes from 2018. But I have an accountant. I hired her. She's taking care of the things. Because honestly, as a creative, I can't keep track of these things. You have to outsource.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just worth the investment to outsource.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
time is money, and if I spend time trying to do my own taxes,
it's not very expensive to have someone do your taxes either. So.
Yeah. She's nice. I trust her. She's a new accountant, but I think she'll.
Well, your taxes should be pretty simple. I mean.
Yeah.
So
not
as
too
an
bad.
artist, you don't have a lot of
LLC.
different streams. So.
Yeah, she said she wants to make me an LLC S corp.
Yeah.
So that I can pay myself.
Put yourself on salary.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm like,
a little bit of a tax incentive there.
Yeah. I guess you get more write-offs.
Tax savings. Yeah.
But yeah, I liked Greensboro. I liked the area, and I moved here. Yeah.
You said something earlier. I wanted to mention too. You said when you started doing the spray paint work, you were looking up techniques on YouTube, and it's one of the amazing things about technology today is that we have so much access to information. So if you want to learn something new, you have access to the information.
Yeah, actually, Mickey, my bonus dad, he calls it YouTube University.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. He'll just learn because he does building, he likes to build stuff.
Yeah.
They converted the garage into his little work shed or whatever. He builds things, and so it's he teaches himself how to do stuff on there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, and I'm very self-motivated and very if I want to figure something out, I want to really figure it out. I have a hunger to just be I don't think I'm Kobe Bryant level hunger, but because I still like to enjoy my life a little bit too.
Yeah.
But
I can get really obsessed with things.
Yes. So. But that's how you know. It's a good. Yeah. And I became obsessed with spray paint. But yeah, I also realized that there was kind of a void on YouTube of spray paint videos. There are a few people on there.
Yeah.
But I feel a lot of graffiti artists and spray paint artists, they don't
share their.
Well, yeah, they just kind of do their own thing.
Right.
Yeah. I feel I'm different in that sense, and I like to teach people things.
Well, you have that different background, which is.
And I have a different kind of background, yeah. And I see things differently, and I think of things differently. I think because I have a background in education of art.
Right. Yeah.
So I understand value and color, and things of that nature that maybe somebody that didn't have an art background wouldn't really know. Yeah,
because you study color theory and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important as an artist.
Absolutely.
Study color theory.
And I feel I'm still learning it. Yeah. Color is difficult.
Right, yeah.
It's really difficult. And every time I've talked to another artist about it, it's yeah, I'm just doing monochromatic stuff right now because color scares me. And I was yeah, it does. It's you're going to mess up.
My
and it's
daughter
going to suck at first.
Yeah, my daughter asked me what my favorite, she's 4.5. She
cool.
asked me what my favorite color is. And I was I love all the colors.
That's always my answer.
Like they're all beautiful if they're used properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's
even the ugly colors can be beautiful if they're put in the right spot.
Yeah, they all have a place, right? Yeah.
That puke green color,
Like there's not a certain color I would not want to perceive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's certain colors I won't wear.
Right. Yeah. Or I mean, yeah. If you don't use the colors correctly, it can look terrible.
Right. Absolutely.
If you blend them all together.
Yeah. And then it becomes muddy.
Yeah.
I like that term because it really does look like mud if you like mix all the wrong colors together. But yeah, I really forgot where I was getting at. But yeah, I really love working in color. And
what about learning on
YouTube is what we were talking about. Okay, backtracking here. But yeah, so then I decided I was gonna start doing more spray paint related videos and stuff. And right now I'm doing more Instagram Reels. Yeah. The TikTok of Instagram. Instagram's like, no TikTok. We're taking your idea because you can't be the only one doing it.
Right.
You're like, oh man, this is a great idea. Let's steal it. Actually, it's easier. I think Reels are easier. Okay. TikTok has too many settings. It's too much for me.
Okay.
I mean, I'll use it. Basic stuff. Yeah. I'm still teaching myself. But anyway, so yeah, my plan is to start making more YouTube videos about spray painting, and I'm gonna do like cap reviews.
You've been doing some technique videos too, which are cool.
Yeah. Technique videos. I have like a spray paint safety video, which it's terrible. I'm trying to be more genuine, I guess, in my videos. Because people relate to that more. Yeah. And they, if they see that you're a real person. If I just laugh at myself and say I have ADHD, and it's like, hey, if I forget to say something, go ahead and put that in the comments because I have no idea.
Well, I think all art is based in truth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Whether it's writing, like screenplays, or that can go anywhere, but it's all based on ideas, which are they come from truth, or truthful things, where it's science or art or something. But then, with like comedy, like I've been doing stand-up comedy for a couple of years, and
oh really? And that's another one. I love that.
That's all rooted in truth, So like if it's not, it's not funny.
Absolutely, and that's I grew up watching stand-up comedy. I love it. Like I grew up like a Seinfeld girl. My dad raised me on Seinfeld back before I like really understood the jokes. Yeah. Like I probably shouldn't have watched it, but it was on TV.
You didn't understand it, so it didn't matter.
No big swearing or anything, but it was certain episodes.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Oh, it's a great show. Yeah. I love it. I can quote it. I love it. I've always loved stand-up comedy. It's funny you mentioned that actually, because I was just talking about that the other day. I've been recently doing some work with my drag queen friends here in Greensboro. Okay. I did a painting of Brenda the drag queen.
Oh, cool.
She's one of my very good friends.
Nice.
She's fabulous. In heels, 7 feet tall.
Wow.
Yes. Large and in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. But so we were talking about, maybe me doing a little, like just maybe a minute and a half, 2 minute, like kind of intro stand-up kind of bit, to introduce them at the comedy, Comedy Zone? Yeah, that's what it's called.
Comedy Zone, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess Brenda, it's Brenda and Kitty. So the other drag queen, who's actually from Providence, Rhode Island. I actually met Kitty in Providence, Rhode Island, but sorry again here. Brenda and Kitty, they usually do a show called like the mother-daughter drag show.
Oh, cool.
And they were doing like a web thing, and they even had me a guest on their show. It was like FaceTime type deal.
Oh yeah,
during
nice.
COVID and everything. So I sat in my studio and I did the video. We just like kind of shoot the shit, talk about stuff, make some jokes, asking me about my art and stuff after I did the painting of Brenda the drag queen. It's actually that painting's at the Bearded Goat as well. It's just on the outside, outside of the walls. But yeah, so I think it'd be really cool to like introduce them, just do like a 1.5, 2 minute bit.
Yeah, if you want to work on some material, come out to the Idiot Box and do some of the open mics. It's a good comedy scene.
I think that'd be really cool. And I've some of my friends are like they're laughing. They're like, "You're not gonna do that." It's like, "You're crazy." I was like, "No, I've written stuff before. I've just never done it."
Yeah, it's creative. I mean, I started doing it just to work on my comedic writing for screenwriting, and I really enjoyed it, and I've kept doing it. And it was I guess I've been doing it for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
And then
cool. How many sets have you done? Like, how long do you run for too?
I write a lot, so I don't really know how much material I have. It's quite a bit
until you say it. Yeah.
But it gets better. It's like painting. Every day it gets better. Yeah. And I just did a guest spot last night at a little show in Kernersville. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
I think I've done actual sets in a comedy show. I think I've done like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I've done a ton of open mics, and
cool.
And the Idiot Box in Greensboro is actually a huge comedy scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good comics in Greensboro and in North Carolina that perform there. So when I first went and signed up a year and a half or so ago, there were like 30 plus comics on the list.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is pretty serious.
Yeah, I hear some big names have gone through there too.
Yeah, sure. And there's some here now, like especially with COVID, because a lot of people came back to the area. So you'll see some really big names in comedy at that club. And that's like the comic club, so it's ran by comics, and so it's a cool place. But yeah, if you have some material to work out, they usually have 3 or 4 mics a week, so it's good. Ken
Jung's parents live here in Greensboro.
Oh yeah, I heard he's from here. Yeah.
He's friends with Marty Kotis.
I don't know him.
Oh, okay. Well, Marty Kotis, he's one of the biggest property management developers.
Yeah.
Well, it's his father does it too. So I'm talking about Marty. I'm not sure.
The last name I recognize.
Yeah. Well, you'll see Kotis Properties.
Yeah.
I do work with like what he likes to call Kotis Street Art. It's like he's just like the curator of it. So basically, like he has a wall, and then like he actually lets the artist kind of come up with an idea. He's like, "What do you want to paint?" And I'm like, "Nobody's ever asked me that before."
That's great. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really cool. But
let the artist art.
Yeah. I was just hoping like it'd be really cool if like Ken Jung came back, and I was like, if he ever comes back, Marty, you have to introduce me. Like apparently they went to school together.
Oh, okay.
When they were younger, so it's kind of cool.
Very cool.
It's cool that he has a tie here because he's like super famous now,
Yeah.
But yeah, I love comedy. It's great, and I like to make my videos a little bit funny. I was thinking about incorporating it into my art somehow.
It's a good idea.
Funny art, not political cartoons or anything. I don't do politics.
You just do your videos in a comedic way.
Oh yeah. I mean, probably people are going to wind up laughing at me more than with me, but that's fine.
That's good. Yeah.
But yeah, comedy's great. Yeah, I'll need to go to one of your shows sometime.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have one planned?
We're doing a show. I'm on it's a show, but it's called a showcase this Saturday at 1111 Brewing in Greensboro.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's
this Saturday.
Yeah, at 7:30.
Oh, good to know.
So if you want to see it, that'll be
me and one of my girlfriends, we were talking about doing something, but we didn't know what to do, and I was like, let's do something different. It's like my boyfriend's going out of town. He's like having some guys' weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like him and 6 of his friends. I guess they've done this before. It's like the thing that they do.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you go do that. And it's like, I think a comedy show would be fun. And I haven't been to 1111.
I haven't been there either.
It's 1111 or 1111?
It's 1111. Yeah, but the address is 1111.
That's why. Okay, that's where it came from. Okay.
Yeah,
I know where it is.
I used to be one of the owners at 913 Whiskey Bar, so we had the same type of address, like the name of the business.
You used to be one of the owners there. Okay, cool. Yeah. I've been there a few times.
Okay, cool.
It's cute. Yeah. I just went for cocktails. I mean, I never had the food or anything.
It's a nice little place. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a cute little spot. I love it. Yeah, it's a really cute spot. Yeah, the hours were weird though. I feel like every time I wanted to go, well, I was also a bartender, so it's like anytime I wanted to go, it's like I was typically working that night.
Oh, okay.
And then, say I was working like earlier and then I got off work and it's like, you guys closed at like what, 10 or something, 9, 10.
At first, later, like on Friday and Saturday, we would stay open late.
But things change.
And we were closed on Mondays.
Yeah.
I think at first we were closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah. I think are they still closed right now?
I'm not sure. We sold it in 2018, but I think they are closed right now.
Yeah, a friend of mine, she worked there right before COVID hit.
Yeah. I don't know. They may be reopened now.
I mean, maybe. It's such a small spot. So but it's 50% capacity now. So, it all depends on the capacity.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
a tough business too.
Yeah.
Restaurant, like food business is tough.
I don't know how you did that.
Yeah. Well, it was I was more of an investor in that business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's better to be that than have to run it.
Right. Yeah.
So I worked in the service industry for long enough, and I mean, I could probably open a bar and know how to run it and do everything the way it's supposed to be done. Because like I've seen bars do it the wrong way. I've worked in bars where they've done it the wrong way. I've worked in bars that have done it the right way. It's like, you know, it's so I know I would know my ins and outs and how to do it. I don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to go back to that. I'll paint the wall.
Yeah, that'd be better. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'll definitely paint the wall.
Yeah, I've actually, when I was a kid, I always assumed I would pursue art, but I was also poor, so I needed money.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good with business. So I really pursued business early on and sort of, I mean, I would always do creative things, and I've always incorporated creativity in business.
Right.
But I've sold most of my companies and consolidated everything down. I do a lot of consulting now, and I really do consulting for some corporate clients, and I work with their clients, and I'm not really taking on any new business other than what they give me. But and I've sold pretty much everything else just so I can focus on creative projects. And it's and I'm sure it's cost me a lot of money, but it's been worth it because
absolutely worth the investment.
I feel like if you're a creative person, you have to do creative things or you're just not happy.
Right, absolutely. You become miserable, you become depressed.
Yeah.
I've been there. I did love bartending. I was good at it. I was good at talking to people and just making stupid little jokes about things and remembering who drank what.
Right.
I wasn't always the best at remembering names, but I always knew what you drink.
Yeah.
You know? Match the face to the drink, you know.
That's kind of a creative job too, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I loved being creative with it sometimes, and it's fun at parties. Yeah. I'm really fun at parties. I felt like maybe is this why they invited me here? They're like, Jenna makes shots. It's like, all right, what do you got? I was like, okay, put this and this together.
Well, I know a lot of artists that were bartenders, or still are. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just glad that I didn't continue doing it. I mean, as much as I loved working at the Goat, I loved it. Like that bar is amazing. It's just like I just had all of these like dreams and goals and things I wanted to do, And I've worked in some shitty bars, not in Greensboro, in Florida. I worked at some places that were rough.
Well, it's Florida.
Yeah. And I worked at high volume places, club-like places. Yeah. And it was all just, I was making good money, but I didn't paint at all for 6 years after I graduated.
Whoa, that's crazy. Yeah. I think a lot of artists work in bars though, because typically, from my experience, most creative people are night people.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Like my mind works better at night. Like especially the creative side. I feel like the later I stay up, the more creative I get. It's almost like you get in this manic type state.
Right.
And your mind is more free. It's less constrained.
I mean, everyone's different, but yeah, I've definitely heard that.
But also, most creative people are not morning people either. So office jobs aren't usually conducive to creatives. Yeah. So I think that's probably why a lot of creative people work in bars and stuff, because they're up at night anyway.
Absolutely.
It's more of it's not as constraining of a job, right? And it allows you time to work on your art.
Right, yeah. Well, I guess it depends on where you work.
I'm definitely a morning person. Like,
well, that's true.
I want to cut my mind off at 4 or 5, but I've been making art since I was born. All kinds of stuff. So
you're unique.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
Kind of thing. Oh, totally. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, like, I'm a night person, but I'm also a morning person. It makes no sense. Yeah. It's like, do you sleep? Sometimes. But sometimes I would get off of work, like, if we closed at 12, I get off at like 2, say I had some work to do in my studio or painting to finish or something. I'd go to my studio because my studio is right down the road from the Goat. Like I'm at 205 Collaborative. That's where my studio space is.
Okay, cool.
So it's like, collaborative studio. So it's like a bunch of different artists that make different stuff.
How much is studio space over there? Or is there still space available for other artists?
Yeah, it depends on the space. Each space, mine's super small. That's because it was like my first starting out. Eventually I'll expand, but it's more storage for my spray paint right now.
Right.
And I do some painting. I was painting in there yesterday. But it depends on the size of the studio. They have some downstairs and some upstairs. The only issue that I have with it is that we don't have air conditioning.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, honestly...
Especially North Carolina.
Honestly,
humidity.
Right. I prefer the heat over the cold any day.
Sure, yeah.
I get cold so easily. And it's like, it's funny, people joke about it all the time. They're like, Jenna, are you cold? And I was like, am I ever not cold? It's like 70 degrees and the wind blows. And I'm like, oh, it's chilly. Yeah. That's just how I am. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to, I've thought about doing something like that, like buying a building and setting it up just for art studios.
Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, actually, I think, I mean, there are a couple different places that I know of in Greensboro that are like collaborative. Well, actually 3 different areas. There's like one off of Summit, and there's one off of Washington that's like right around the corner from where 205 Collaborative is. Okay. So there are a bunch of different spaces. I could go find one that has air conditioning and all the fun stuff. Yeah. Just like 3 times more expensive.
You kind of need an AC though if you're going to paint in there though, right? Like.
I mean, with the fan, and honestly, I can shut my door and just kind of like strip down to like a bikini or something and paint that.
How does
like
it affect
little shorts and like a little crop top or something, just like.
When it's really hot though, does it affect the paint?
It only affects the paint. Well, it doesn't dry as fast when it's humid and hot. Right. Yeah. And it's humid here in the South, so it doesn't dry as fast, which actually sometimes that's good. Sure. But sometimes it's not. It depends on what you're painting. It also depends on what kind of paint you're using.
Your time frame too, right?
And time frame, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been commissioned very many canvas pieces in recent times. Like the Leonardo DiCaprio at Common Ground, that was a commission. But other than that, and I'm working on an oil painting right now.
But the spray paints dry fast, right?
Oh yes, spray paint's instant, which is fun. It's cool. It's just like blending is different because like you can't mix it together. So like you got to get the right color.
That's all about layering, right?
Yeah. So I layer the colors sometimes to get the right color.
Interesting.
Sometimes I'll run out of a color and like say like I need like a little orange somewhere. And I'm like, crap, I have no orange. And I just do yellow and then I put like a transparent red over it. Oh. So it's like a light coat and it has that like orange to it. It's pretty cool.
It's neat.
But yeah. Anyway, so I was saying before, I was like, I'm a morning person and a night person. Like when I was a kid, I used to wake up at like 4 a.m. because that's when my dad woke up.
Right.
I would sit there on my little beanbag chair and my dad would make me hot cocoa and I'd fall asleep watching Dave Letterman with him. And
that's cool.
Then I'd wake up and go to school.
Yeah.
But I'm annoying in the morning. I'm the kind of person that I wake up and I'm ready to go. Okay. Like, hey, it's a beautiful day. Let's get up. Let's go. It drives people nuts.
I don't sleep a lot. I sleep 6 hours a night. So
I function best on 6 hours.
Yeah, that's for me. It's like the magic number. But like I'll go to sleep usually at 2 and get up at 8. That's my typical schedule.
And yeah,
But if I stay up till 3, I'll just get up at 9 because I have to get 6 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in the morning when I wake up though, I'm just like straight to the coffee maker.
Oh yes, me too.
Yeah, and then
me too.
I don't really talk or anything. I'm just usually the first hour I'm awake. I'm pretty quiet and just trying to gather myself together.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if someone's around to talk to, like I can talk, but
yeah, I will,
it's like, I'll talk to the dog or whatever when I let him out. But, it's weird. Like I just wake up like with energy. So
that's good. I wish I could do that.
Well, I mean, I've also been vegan for almost 6 years. So I feel like changing my diet really, like I sleep better.
Interesting. So you figured out what works best for you.
Yeah. And yeah, I did. And it works best for me. I started for like health issues and then like I really got into like all of the other politics of it. I'm not going to get into all that. Yeah. I'm not like one of those like, ooh, go vegan. Like I'm not gonna yell at people for eating meat. I can't.
But it's tough to do a vegan diet. So you have to supplement and you have to do it exactly right, and you have to know what foods to eat because you can eat a really unhealthy vegan diet.
Oh, absolutely.
But you look really healthy, so it's.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do. I work out. I do yoga. Go for runs and stuff. I make sure to get enough protein. And people are always like, how do you get your protein? I'm like, you know that there's protein in vegetables,
and
right?
a lot of stuff, yeah.
There's more protein in vegetables than you think, actually, especially like mushrooms. There's protein in like spinach. And
peanut butter.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I gotta be careful with the nuts and the peanut butter because they're really good, but it's still high in fat.
A lot of calories.
Yeah, lots of calories. I'm like, I can't take in that many calories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also learned like what to supplement with, other vitamins that I miss out on. It's like vitamin B12. You got to get that as a vegan. It's very important. You should
take that regardless.
You should.
I take that every morning. Yeah.
Right, but vitamin B12 is the only vitamin that vegans can't get from like natural stuff because it comes from meat usually. But you can get it from this stuff called nutritional yeast. Sounds weird. It's like this. I mean, you can buy it.
So you make bread with it. Like it has B12 in the bread.
Yeah. So nutritional yeast is it's like a powdery. It's like it almost looks like corn flour or like cornstarch or whatever.
Okay.
Like it looks like corn flour. It looks like a flour of sorts, and it's like flaky. It kind of has like a yellow tint to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was at first, but it's interesting because like if you add it to like pasta, for instance, and you add olive oil and like salt and pepper, it's like it has almost like a cheesy taste to it.
Oh,
so it's like
sounds good.
Yeah. So I've actually made my own vegan cheeses using this nutritional yeast stuff.
Nice.
It gives you all the vitamins you need. But I mean, now it's like I'm running around so much. I don't cook as much.
Yeah.
So like I'm eating on the go. And so what I do is I'll take my little vegan multivitamin. Gives me all the things that I need. So if I need to have a day of eating ramen noodles in a cup in my car, then I will. I've done that.
Adaptive.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like while I'm driving, it's like really crazy. But yeah, I'm on the go a lot. So, but like even if you're on the go a lot like me, it's still really important to make sure that you're getting the right nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you have to have energy to work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, doing murals, like it's hard work.
I'm sure.
My thighs hurt pretty much constantly.
Yeah.
It's like constant squats. Like if you know, like the spray paint stance, like the right way to like, you have to like move with the wall.
Right.
It's like, so you got to like bend your knees and do all the stuff.
Very physical.
Very physical. And then it's like me climbing up and down scaffolding and, up and down on the lift, so I got to do all that stuff, climbing up and down ladders all day.
While we're on, before we get off the diet stuff, have you seen the lab grown meats?
No.
Yeah, I'm a big science technology guy.
Interesting.
But they've been working on this for years. They have they've created beefs and some type of poultry like chicken or something, but it's they take the DNA from the cow.
DNA, okay.
And they just genetically
like a cloning
like clone the meat, and they grow it in a lab, and it's supposed to be really good, and it's probably healthier than actually sourcing it directly from the cow because it's never been exposed to chemicals or anything.
And then you're never harming an animal by doing that.
Right, yeah. So I think what will happen in the future is
that's cool.
Well, also you drastically reduce the population of cows.
Right, which would help the environment.
Yeah, you have. We can keep
killing
forests. That's the biggest thing. Cows have a very small impact, like carbon impact on the planet, really. Mm-hmm. But it's the bigger problem is that you have to clear so much forest to have cattle.
Yes.
And fixing that would be a huge solution.
Right. I read up on all this sorts of stuff. I've heard different things.
Yeah. But you'll have to have enough. We'll have to have enough cattle to keep enough diversity in the species to keep it healthy. But it would be a fraction of what we have today, and then there's no longer a moral dilemma with eating meats. And
absolutely. I mean that's really cool.
Much more sustainable.
Absolutely.
And your farms are going to be like friendly places for cows, right? I mean, it'll just be like
let's go pet the cows.
Yeah, it'll be like a petting zoo or something.
Cute.
Yeah. But
they stink, but they're cute.
Yeah.
But I've read before, like if on the planet, if you took all like the livestock, like the land for the livestock, and you grew plants on it, we'd have enough food to feed everyone on the entire planet.
Well, also you have to consider the amount of land that we use just to feed the livestock.
Yeah, and I know that's all the plants that we're feeding them. If we could just feed ourselves with that, and then it's. And I mean, it's so complicated. There's so much. There's so much to that stuff, and
there's big issues with soil and stuff too. So we'll have to make big changes.
Absolutely.
Make it sustainable.
We need to save the planet. I mean, it is Earth Day. Happy Earth Day.
Yeah, and it's not really as much saving the planet as it is saving the human race because the planet will survive.
Right, and I just think so many humans now they're so selfish about they're like, oh well, my generation's fine. It's like, well, did you have kids?
Yeah.
Your kids are gonna have kids.
Let's continue.
Yeah, let's I mean, do you really want your children's children to grow up in a place that's, I mean, dying?
Yeah. I get real philosophical with these ideas or these issues, but I feel like all life is one life form on the planet.
Absolutely.
It's just like the universe becoming aware, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a hippie. I totally believe in all that, universal energies type stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think, the more we learn about science, we're actually seeing that. Like the life form is actually the code of the life. It's the DNA, right? And
we're all energy.
And I think we're just learning how to take care of ourselves. And I think it's hubris to think that we are really doing a lot on our own. A lot of it, I think, is just we don't really know what we're doing. We're just we do what we do. It's kind of like the ants build the ant colonies, and the bees build the beehives, and we build technology.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our beehive or our anthill. And I think the more self-aware we become, the more we correct any kind of problem in that process. But I really feel like we're merging with this technology, and I'm excited. I think technology is exponential, so. You can't look at it from a linear perspective, which we tend to do. Like you can't say, well, we did all this stuff in the past 2 decades, so the next 2 decades we'll probably do something similar to that, or maybe, but it's not growing at that rate, it's growing exponential. Yeah. So the next decade might be hundreds of years of advancement, the next 2 decades might be thousands of years of advancement.
Yeah.
And who knows what we'll be doing in 20 years.
I know, yeah. It's crazy how far technology has come since we were kids. Like we grew up in the age of technology.
Right, yeah.
Like I remember when the computer became a thing. Social networking. I remember before Google. I remember using Yahoo.
Yeah.
When was the last time you used Yahoo?
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Go Yahoo it. If you said that to somebody, they'd be like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Well, we're becoming more connected.
Yeah.
And from a creative perspective, I'm really excited about that because you think about the possibilities. If you can put this in my head,
right?
What I could do with it,
It's amazing. I listen to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk.
I haven't heard of him.
Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a huge entrepreneur. Yeah, go ahead and look him up.
I'll bring a note.
He built his parents' wine business and started YouTube when it first came out in 2008. I listened to his podcasts and I watch his YouTube videos, and it's just so inspiring. He never meant to be a motivational speaker or anything. He's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
He's naturally he's just a go-getter type guy. He's buying and selling stuff. He'll still go to garage sales because he just loves that feeling of just, the entrepreneur stuff. But I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about before? I was bringing Gary Vaynerchuk into it.
About the growth of technology.
Yeah, growth. Yeah, so he talks about how, he's like, do you know how hard it used to be to run a business? It's you'd have to spend tons of money to send out mailings.
Right, yeah.
He's like, you had to fucking mail things to people.
Yeah.
You had to do that. And it's now all you need to do is just get on your phone, take some photos, who cares, post it.
Right.
And it's just he's all about just the more you post about stuff, the better. So even if it's something that you're not really confident in, and it's he's the reason why you're not posting so much is because you're scared. You're scared of what people are going to think of it. So now I'm just trying to be more genuine and just post as much as possible.
Yeah.
So before we leave, I'd still like to take a photo with you guys too.
Oh, we'll get a picture at the end. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but Yeah, I've learned a lot from him. And because like here I am, you know, an artist and a muralist, and you know, I do all that. But I also like, I like to say I'm an entrepreneur, you know, freelance artist, whatever. But
sure.
Yeah, but I also want to be like, you know, I know this is like stupid millennial thing, but like an influencer of sorts. You know?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you're an artist, but you're also all artists are entrepreneurs if that's what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you're doing it right. You have an LLC.
Yeah.
You know, an S corp. You're
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do things the right way, get my taxes under control finally.
That's great. A lot of artists should pay attention to that and do the same. Mm-hmm. Because you're also mitigating liability.
Absolutely.
If you work on a business and they're unhappy and they want to sue you, you've got a layer of protection between you and that client. And you would.
I mean, hopefully that will never happen, but you know.
Well, the more successful you become, that sort of stuff.
Right.
Litigation becomes a part of business.
Yeah. Right now, it's not a big problem, but ever since I started, you know, doing art and selling art and stuff, I contract. Like I do everything professionally. I send you a professional quote. I send invoice for, you know, design fee, things like that. Oh yeah, there I am.
Very cool.
Oh, is this my website? Yeah. My website needs to be updated, but that's the goat I was talking about.
Oh yeah,
earlier.
Nice. Yeah.
But it needs to be updated. My brother's actually, he's a web developer and he designed this website for me.
Oh, cool.
So it's really cool. There's nothing really new on there. So if you go to Instagram, actually you can see more of my new stuff. But yeah, that's the first attempt at realism I ever tried in spray paint.
It's really good too.
So thanks.
What's up, man?
It's fun.
Daniel's here.
Hey, how you doing? Good. Yeah. I definitely consider myself an entrepreneur, but yeah, I want to become more of like an influencer of sorts, like not just like one of those like fake Instagram models or whatever. Like it's not me.
You're actually giving something that's
giving back.
Yeah.
You know, I like to teach people how to do stuff and make things. And
substance, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good at explaining stuff. Sometimes I over-explain. My mother's the same way.
No, that's good.
You know, but you know, I do like it, you know, explaining things and teaching stuff, and you know, I also want to inspire people. You know, I've recently been talking to some local colleges. I reached out to UNCG and Greensboro College recently because I've been so busy and running around all the time, and I work on these huge walls. And at one point, somebody was like, "You do all that by yourself?" I was like, "Yeah." I just do. And I was like, maybe you should think about getting an intern. I was like, that's a great idea.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
You know, it's because I'm not at a point right now where I can hire an assistant, you know, to pay them yet. Yeah. Hopefully one day I'll be able to do that.
We should get an intern here.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. You absolutely. And you know, I'm sure college kids locally, they'll jump at it too.
Sure, yeah.
Because it could be really fun for them.
I think with what you got going on, 100%. So I was with a VC guy last night, and he was talking about like 80% of his staff is our interns. That's how he recruits local colleges.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel bad that like, you know, I always feel bad like if I'm not going to pay them. But like I'd be the cool one, you know. If they're over 21, I'll buy them some beer or something.
Well, what you're giving them is more valuable than pay.
Yeah,
it's experience. Yeah, because they have to. Sometimes they have to have that anyway. Yeah. If they wanted to go into an advanced program, they're going to have that.
Absolutely.
When I was in college, I had to work for an ad agency as an intern.
Yeah,
and it was great. I learned a lot.
Yeah. Yep. I also get that. I guess imposter syndrome is what they call it. I get that sometimes. It's like. Yeah. It's like, am I qualified enough to have I been doing spray paint long enough to teach them anything? It's like. I'm trying to work past that, you know.
Well, that's just, I think a lot of that's just self-awareness, and it's also, it's sort of like that. I think Joe Rogan has a good bit about it, about becoming an adult. You think when you become an adult, you'll have answers, but you realize that you still don't know anything.
Oh, yeah.
And adults are just, like kids are just small people.
Right. But growing up, we think adults know everything.
And I feel like the older I get, the less I know. Like, the more I realize we really don't know anything about reality or what all this is. And I think that's sort of what imposter syndrome is too. Like you gain some success and you're just like, why am I successful? Or, you know,
am I worthy of this?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just trying to, I mean, I just told myself, it's like, I'm going to be, you know, I want to be a world famous artist, but not just for the fame.
No, you want to create that level of art.
Yeah. But I want to inspire people all over the world. I want to be able to travel to different countries and teach people how to do stuff. And I also I love the whole motivational speaker type thing. So like when I was talking to, actually Greensboro College is the first one to respond to me. It was like the director of like the art department or whatever. Because I reached out to her specifically because I'm online and I'm like, you know, I could just reach out to this person, that person. But UNCG is so big. It's like they haven't reached out yet. But like, you know, Greensboro College is much smaller. They have a small art department. But, you know, they also have like a little gallery and stuff. And so now they're talking about putting on an exhibit of my work next year or something, next school year.
Awesome.
I'm like, all right, you got to give me some time, maybe like second semester. It's like, I got to throw some stuff together. But yeah, because I mentioned a bunch of things, you know, not only because like I figured I want to give back. So like if they're giving me an intern, I don't want it to just be for their credit. Right. You know, I really want to teach them how to do what I do, for one. Yeah. And then two, like I want to do like an art talk where I can kind of talk about how I became a full-time artist. Yeah. And kind of like how it kind of like happened for me and how it can happen for you. Right. You know, because like I got lucky that I had parents that were so supportive of it. Yeah. I'm like, I'm in my third year of college and I'm like, I'm switching my major again. I'm going to be an artist.
Well, they were probably excited about that though, since they were both into art.
They're like, okay, Jen, that's cool. Yeah. They know I always figure it out. Like I figure everything out. Like I might struggle for a little while, but I'll figure it out. And
you have a good business mind too then.
Yeah.
And that's what this show's about. It's about inspiring people.
So. Absolutely. And that's what I want to do. I want to inspire people all over the world to know that they can do it. You know,
And like you said, with the success thing, if you create something that's good enough and people really enjoy what you create, the success is a side effect.
Absolutely. Success is also a side effect of, and Gary Vaynerchuk also goes by Gary V. He says it's a side effect of doing what you love. Yeah. If you just find something that you're interested in,
that you're passionate about, and you know, I'm passionate about so many different kinds of art, so that's why I haven't like really like discovered like the style for me yet. Yeah. But I'm just so passionate about it, and I just, you know, I just focus on it for so long, and I don't know, I can't stop. I get obsessed with it. Yeah. But like, if you're obsessed about something, then do it. You can work your side job and to make money, but like you gotta eventually, you know. We just had glass artist John Kuhn on the show a few weeks ago. Cool. And he's one of those artists that has just dedicated his life to it, and he creates brilliant glass art, like cold sculpture. Have you seen his stuff?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and he's world renowned now.
Yeah, he has great stuff.
Yeah. I think he's got like pieces in over 40 museums.
Yeah, that's a whole other kind of art too. I mean, there's certain kind of art. There's some kinds of art that I'll try for fun. You know, I almost took like a little, you know, class before, you know, little glass blowing thing, but I never actually went. I don't know what happened to that. I used to work for an arts council anyway, but so that's cool. I like sculpting and stuff. I'm good at sculpting. Yeah, but it's like you gotta buy all this equipment and have all this space. Yeah. And like, actually, it's funny because when I went to Florida Southern College, we used to have the clay come from North Carolina. Yeah. You know,
we have good clay here.
Yeah, you got
huge pottery state.
Yeah, big pottery state. I didn't realize like how big pottery was up here until, you know, I came.
Yeah, we grew up in Asheboro.
Oh, okay.
It's about 30 minutes south of here.
Yeah.
And Seagrove. Which is south of Asheboro, is like the pottery
where
capital.
That is. Yeah. Yep. I've been to Seagrove.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. When I worked for the Arts Council, I worked for Alamance Arts. They're in Graham, so it's like Burlington area. You know.
Yeah. We did a lot of pottery in high school because my high school was close to that area, so I took art, you know, throughout school, and we did a lot of pottery.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful too. Like, I bought a few pieces, and it's like, I'm afraid to even use them. Like, you can use it.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's functional art, but it's so pretty. I'm like, I don't want to mess this up. And I need to remember who made it, because I'm like, if I need a set, like I have 2 bowls and I want 4. So I need to like figure out a way to get 2 more. But
anyway,
anyway,
see the Kellys, Matthew Kelly. He's a really good potter.
Yeah. I've heard of him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have like a little Christmas show at Alamance Arts. It's like every Christmas season, they throw together like kind of like a show where they have pieces from different artists, whether it be like paintings, jewelry, ceramics, all sorts of stuff from local artists would come in. Cool. You know, they sell commission. So like part of it, I think 30% would go to the Arts Council, and then 70 would go to them as the artist. And nice. I had to organize all that. It was, honestly, I hated working there. It's like, I don't hate them. I would hang artwork that I'm like, man, I could do so much better than that. What the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? It's like, oh,
they need a higher standard.
Right. And then it was just like this whole like 9 to 5 thing. But then it was like I was making starting teacher's salary, you know, for working like 80 hours a week because we'd have events.
Right.
And we'd have this going on. We'd have that going on. And I'd have to be there. I'd be there late night. Yeah, I could drink wine at the events. That was fine. But it's like, still, I'm there. You know?
And you should probably be working on your art.
Right. Yeah. And then I wasn't working on my art, you know, at the time, really at all. Because you get so wrapped up in other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, after a while, I was like, you know, I worked there for like 9 months, and I was like, this isn't for me. I'm on the wrong side of the art world.
Right. Yeah.
You know, doing the administrative part of the art world is completely different than doing like your own art.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I've worked in galleries before. Well, I did their gallery, but I also worked at Florida Southern College's art gallery. When I graduated there, I moved back down to Florida so I could work there. That's my favorite piece, the chess piece there.
That's cool. What is that? What medium is that?
That's actually that's in Marty Codis's office at Kick-Ass Concepts is the name of his company, where he owns all these different business, where he owns all this property. So this is actually like a quick video of like
it's a mural.
The progress.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a super quick video, but like there are other videos of like, you know, this is kind of start to finish. Yeah, it didn't even show the last part, did it? If you scroll down a little bit, it's like...
There it is.
Yeah, that's photo and video on that one, I think. But yeah, it took forever.
It's really cool.
And I did 2 walls. That's one wall. There's another wall as well. It's the other side of the room, yeah. So he has like his Zoom meetings in there and stuff. And so it's like you got the chess pieces in the background.
I like the way it carries on to the desk. Or is that a reflection?
Oh, yeah. So it's teak wood.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like Marty had like a bunch of this wood left over from something. Like he has so much stuff. But like he had all this wood left over from whatever. And he had them made into these desks. And then afterwards he looked into it and he's like, wow, teak wood is really expensive. He's like, I should have used this for something else. But it looks beautiful. And it's like, somehow I got it to match the wood just right. Yeah. But yeah, the reflection of the chessboard on it. Like,
looks awesome. Yeah.
Looks pretty cool. Thank you.
It really pulls you into the piece.
Yeah.
It's neat.
It was a very frustrating piece. Honestly, I didn't know I had never painted chess pieces like in spray paint. Or ever, so
a lot of textures and stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually that was a friend of mine who passed away. I did a portrait of him at my friend's bar.
I love the Elon Musk.
Oh
mural
yeah,
there. That's cool.
That was my first time painting on a lift.
Wow.
I felt like a boss. Yeah. So I.
Did you use a projector for any of that, or is that all?
We were going to, but we couldn't seem to figure it out. This was a collaboration between me and 2 other artists.
Oh, okay.
So my friend Aaron, he goes by AGPNT on Instagram, and my friend Raman, he's from India, but he lives in the U.S. now. But the 3 of us, so Aaron, he's actually from Colorado, but he lives in Michigan or something now. But yeah, he travels here every once in a while. He's actually doing something really cool that I thought about doing, but I don't know if I could actually do it because I like having space. But he's a traveling artist, so he actually has a van.
Okay.
He lives in this big van that he and his dad converted into a little house.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, in the back, there's like a tiny little area where he could shower. It's like a, you know, kitchen thing. And then
basically
a
traveling studio.
A little bed. Yeah. And then he has a trailer attached to the back of it with all of his spray paint and his like art supplies and like all of his like art stuff. That painting on the right there, actually, that's in, I painted that in Indiana. That's the first time I've ever really traveled to paint. And I did that on a whim, the painting idea anyway.
Yeah.
Because when I got there, like I asked, because like we had to order our paint really far ahead of time, and I had this whole thing planned out, but they didn't have transparent black, and that's like, I needed that to do the design paints. And there weren't any graffiti shops around. Like this place was like Midwest, middle of nowhere. I mean, it was like this tiny little, you know, little town. Yeah. But I was fortunate enough to have them contact me because apparently they knew somebody here in Greensboro or High Point and pointed them in my direction. And I had to do that on scaffold. I brought my own scaffolding out there and got up there. So that's why it just stops because I couldn't go any higher.
As high as you could get.
It's as tall as I could get. But it was a different kind of style that I tried. But yeah, so I had to come up with this. So literally, I'm at breakfast the morning of the painting, and like they had 20 walls painted in like 3 days by like 20 different artists. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was like 20, 22, something like that. It was Marion, Indiana, like the Marion Street.
Did you do the thing down in Charlotte last year?
I didn't, no.
You should do that.
Yeah, I would definitely love to. I mean, people are still learning about me. I mean, locally, like people recognize who I am.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody, but like, you know, more people. I'm noticing more people are kind of recognizing who I am and recognizing my name when they hear it.
I need to introduce you to the mats down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. I would love that. Yeah, I'd love to do work down there. And you know, I've met some artists from the area and stuff, and they're really cool. Like, I like collaboration. I like to try different things and, you know, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. As
love
you can
that
see,
style, the Maryland.
Super. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I painted that for my mom. It's hanging in my mom's house.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Wow. She was born on the exact day that Marilyn Monroe died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, August 5th, 1962.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So she was always, she's like, I replaced her. I'm like, whatever, Mom.
Before I forget about it, you said that you follow some of those entrepreneurs. You should follow Ray Kurzweil.
Okay.
He's a big entrepreneur.
Kurzweil? Is that with a K?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kurzweil.
Kurzweil.
Yeah, he's a big entrepreneur, inventor, and futurist, and brilliant guy. And he talks about where technology is going and stuff like that. I think you'd get a lot of inspiration from his stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I love Gary Vaynerchuk. He repeats himself a lot, but it's funny because when people talk shit about it, he's like, well, what do you want me to do? Fucking lie to you and come up with some other shit? It's like, of course I'm saying the same things because this is just how it is.
It's the stuff he cares about,
this
right?
Is the stuff.
Yeah.
These are the things. I mean, when something new comes out, like the whole NFT thing, I'm still trying to learn that.
Yeah, I did an NFT piece.
Yeah. I don't understand it yet.
I don't
get this whole
think anybody does.
But it's like, I started to read the email that he sent out to his followers or whatever today. And he's like, remember when like, you know, you were using social media and your parents or your grandparents are like not, or like, you know, you start using cell phones, your grandparents didn't. It's like, you know, you refusing to use NFTs and learn about it, like you're becoming your parents.
Yeah.
It's like what we always have feared.
Well, I've talked about this on here before, but I think cryptocurrencies and NFTs, because we've talked about how society, you know, money is a construct. It's not a real thing. It's something we all agree on.
Yeah.
And its value, and we just value it the wrong way instead of value our money on people and individuals that actually create the society. Yeah. We value it on businesses and GDP and all this other stuff, and there's not enough of it. Yeah. And if we just change the way we value our currency, it would be much more valuable.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that with cryptocurrencies because people are realizing all this stuff is it's just data, and it can be worth whatever we say it's worth. So,
absolutely.
So most people don't understand what cryptocurrency is.
Right.
And I really don't completely understand it. I know it's blockchain technology. It has to do with business transactions and stuff like that, but it's not what we would generally think of as currency or money. Right. And it's limited. So like each cryptocurrency only has a limited number of coins or blocks in the chain or whatever. But and NFTs is just blockchain, so you can take a piece of artwork and you connect it to a token, which is cryptocurrency basically, and then there's only one token associated with that one piece of artwork, and you could do like a set of maybe 100, and you have 100 tokens and one token for each piece. But I'm not sure that that's going to continue the way it is now. It could be like a fad type thing, but what's exciting about that technology though is that people are realizing that things can be as valuable as we say they are, as valuable as we say they are. So it creates a lot of opportunity for society to have a much better society. You can, because we have the technology to meet almost endless demands now, and we don't have a population problem. If you took all the people in the world, they'd all fit on a piece of land about the size of Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
So it's not a problem with population. We have a problem with how we use our resources.
Absolutely.
We need to change the way we use the resources, and we're doing that. Everything becomes micro, right? It all, everything used to be huge and big, and now we're finding ways to do way more with much less.
Yeah.
And but the NFT thing is interesting. I think it's a good way to almost copyright a piece, because if you associate it to the block, or if you connect it to a blockchain, then you can just say, hey, this is my piece, and this is it's connected to this piece of blockchain that nobody can duplicate.
It's an ownership thing,
right?
Too.
Yeah.
It's interesting the way that Gary Vee was explaining the NFT thing. Like he said something about like, say, there's always that one person that's like, it's like, oh, I knew like Nirvana before they were famous or whatever. It's like, invested in them or whatever. It's like, he's like, if they had like an NFT for like Nirvana, it's like you could prove that you actually did know this or own this or have part ownership or whatever.
Have one record,
it's like you could actually prove it.
Yeah.
Rather than just being that guy that's like, oh, I knew them before they were famous, whatever.
But you could, I think you can connect physical media to blockchain too. So you could actually do like your Jim Carrey painting, you could connect that to an NFT.
Yeah. I definitely need to get into this. I'm trying to learn more about it and stuff. The world changes. We never really expect how
rapidly.
It rapidly changes, and I also do a lot of research on like money and like where it came from and why, and like why we do the things that we do and the way that we do it, and it's and I'm also like I follow a lot of like spiritual people on YouTube and stuff like that, and talking about the whole spirituality thing. It's like money's not real.
No, it's not.
It's
a social construct.
It's a representation of something.
I guess it's a unit of measure for an exchange of value, a perceived value.
Yeah. But it's all our perception of it.
Right.
And our perception of it changes it. And
it is what we agree that it is.
Yes. We have all just agreed that the dollar is a dollar. Yeah. We just agreed that.
Just to prove your point, what do you feel like is a lot of money?
A lot?
Yeah, what's a lot? What do you, when you were brought up...
for me personally, or just for like anybody?
Yeah, for you personally. What do you think like is a lot of money? And usually this is based on your social construct when you're brought up, the box your family put you into.
Right. I'm trying to step out of that box.
Yeah. So what do you think, based on stepping out of that box, what do you think is a lot of money? Like an obscene amount. Like if I had this amount of money, it would change my life. Like what's that number?
Like $1 million. All
right. So
I mean, I would love to be a multimillionaire, but like I think $1 million, I think that's great.
Right. So I can introduce you
to
people
do a lot with that.
That make $1 million a week.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So
that's
their
great.
perspective of money would be that
$1 billion.
Yeah. They would say that's not a lot of money, right? But it's the money has the value that we give it, and to some people, that value represents a lot more, right? Like what you think would be life changing, and most people would. Some people would think that.
Some people would think it's not.
It's not, right?
So you're absolutely right.
It's an exchange of value, and it's almost like a way to keep score. But really, what people do for the most part is they exchange dollars for hours.
Right.
Right. They exchange time in their life. Right.
Yes. I love this.
That's where they're at. So so I think the trick is, and being entrepreneurial and business minded, and you're learning about the NFTs, you're learning about these things. The trick is to figure out how not to exchange dollars for hours.
Yes.
And it's almost like ideas for millions.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. I don't like hourly.
No.
Anymore. No. It's And like I've raised my prices over time, and it's like I anticipate raising them even more over time. You know, as I get better.
Yeah, as you get better, you perfect your craft, and then and as you get more recognition, I think you can.
Right.
You know, Warren Buffett has this famous. He has a lot of famous quotes, but one of the ones that really stuck out to me at an early age, literally at like 11, 12 years old, for me was he only invested in things that he knew. Right, that he understood. Right, he invested in toothpaste because he understood it. Right, you know, he invested in He invested in Coke because he was. It was as simple as that was his favorite drink.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think some of the things that Warren says are the reasons he missed out. It's also the reason he missed the bubble in the late '90s and early 2000s for the internet bubble. But they're also the reasons he's missed out on any dozen number of companies that become multi-billion-dollar companies because he didn't understand technology. And this is like you take somebody like Gary Vee, and I think that I love Warren's principles, and while I agree with most of them, where I start to differ is I almost believe that you don't necessarily have to understand something to invest in it.
Right. You have to get the right people that do understand it.
Right.
That's the key, right? So
absolutely, yeah. You just need to have the right connections with the right people. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I take the Warren Buffett approach, I would never invest in cryptocurrencies or NFTs or anything like that because I don't fully understand it to my comfort level.
Yeah.
However, that's not what I need to do. What I need to do is employ and or utilize someone that does understand it.
And over time you can learn it.
Yeah,
right.
Like that'd be like telling me not to buy artwork because I don't understand the artistic process.
Yeah, if it were like that, then
no one would ever buy the artwork.
Crazy
right?
world, nobody would buy it. Yeah.
I buy the artwork because of an appreciation for it, right?
Right. Yeah.
I don't have to understand the process. I just know, and it has this perceived value, just like money does, right? And so, like that's the way I look at NFTs or cryptocurrencies. I'm like, I'm not going to go heavy in it. I'm not 100% of my money in it. But at the same point, I think, and this is based on your own personal investment. I think at the same point you should have some money in it because you're stupid not to.
Right.
And then you are your grandparent that you just don't understand the technology.
Yeah, I've got to download those wallets or whatever I got to do.
Yeah. And my hope is that
it's getting easier.
Yeah.
My hope is also that as a society we're becoming more aware of these things, and we come from like all. Human society is the way it is because of evolution, right? We've evolved certain ways, and in the past, humans were pretty terrible. Like we fought each other for resources, and it was all about usually one crazy person that could control a giant group of humans, and they would just take over an area and control those resources. But now we just have such an abundance of resources through technology that I believe. I think money and currency will always have a place in society, and I like I'm a capitalist, but at the same time, I believe you have to regulate things to make them work properly, so they don't. Right. I think currently in our society we have we don't value human life as much as we should, and I think.
Agreed,
that's changing, but I think at the same time you need incentives. You need to motivate people to work and play their part in society too, to contribute,
give back.
And in order to do that, you have to have some type of currency system. But I think if we would and I think we're doing it, but I think changing that construct to make the currency much more valuable. So if you do a job that you don't necessarily like, you still get compensated well for that work, and also I'm hoping that we'll start encouraging people to pursue things they're or at least it'll open opportunities up for people. So instead of just spending their whole life just focusing on barely making it by and surviving, they can actually say, "Oh, I'm actually pretty good at this thing. I want to invest more time into this thing," and they have the resources to do that. And I think as a society as a whole, we'll advance much faster that way because we all contribute in some way. Yeah. And I think a lot of people that can contribute, they're not able to right now because they're so strapped to just surviving in society.
Or they don't think that they can.
Right. They don't believe they've been taught they can't. They've been taught they have to get this job, but I think a lot of these entry level jobs and stuff are going to be replaced quickly with automation and AI, and I'm hoping that we restructure society where we don't have just this huge population of lower class people in poverty, where we can actually have no lower class. It's all middle to the sky's the limit, you know, because if we could restructure the society that way, I mean, people like us would do really well.
Oh yeah.
And then people that just do entry level jobs would have a good life.
Yeah.
And they would be able to experiment with their abilities and say, okay, well, I'm actually pretty good at this thing, and they can focus more on that, and maybe that becomes something really valuable to society. And I think if we can change that as a whole, then our whole society will progress rapidly in a good way.
People will be happier too.
Yeah. And if you want a good society, you have to have good people. You know, you want happy people.
You know, a mentor of sorts recently said something to me that got me thinking about what you were just talking about too. They said that no amount of money, he's very wealthy. I would imagine several $100 million. I don't know that to be a fact, but he's done very well for a long time. He said no amount of money is going to give you peace at night when you're sleeping. It's not going to hold you. It does allow you to buy a bigger house and a faster car and to live life, right?
Yeah.
But what he said is he feels like there's got to be some level of, for different people, what is success is defined differently, right? And so he said there's got to be some appreciation for just living life, because there are public beaches that you can go live, that you can go stay at and use for free. Yeah. But there's also beaches that you can buy that are millions of dollars, right? And so he's like, the difference is ownership, but you can enjoy your life without owning it. And he was talking about how he thinks in the future that once the base comes up, right, where people have the ability financially to enjoy their life a little bit, there are a lot of things that are owned by the state, by the federal government, that can be used by people. Yeah. And he thinks that that's going to be more and more. He was kind of talking about how he thinks the states and or the federal government are going to be buying up more things and them be for the use of the public.
That scares me a little bit.
It does me too.
If the public owns those spaces, I'm okay with that.
Well, that's the key, is how does it get done? But it's an interesting thing, like because a
co-op type deal.
He was talking about him and another group of people are buying these huge tracts of land, and they were joking about
Bill Gates is doing that too, I think.
Ted Turner and Bill Gates.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
Maybe it's Ted Turner. I think he was telling me
I think he's the biggest private property owner in the U.S.
So he's with a big group, and they're trying to. He's like, maybe
he owns millions of acres of land out west. Yeah.
He's like, they're going to try and crack the top 10. Him and this group of land ownership. And it's their cash out is
China owns a lot of our land too.
Isn't that crazy?
That's scary.
Oh wow, yeah.
But he thinks the cash out is either leasing back to the government for public use or
So
that's what him and a big group that's what they're doing. They're buying up, and so they're buying just massive amounts. And I wonder if that's why. But think about it. You need farmland.
It's valuable.
Well,
land is so valuable.
Yeah.
Ray Kurzweil has talked about how he believes that. We've talked about this before too, but how the more things become automated, like cars, in vehicles, we have these cities that are just so densely populated with people, because you had to have a hub for all this business, right? So you had to have these people that would, all these different companies, they
all just went on the same island.
Yeah, they just all
like New York City
grouped together because they're doing so much business. But now with technology, we can be connected and be far apart.
Oh yeah,
so
it's great.
So once cars are fully autonomous, people are going to start moving out of the cities to the cheaper suburban areas, and rural areas, because if your vehicles
you don't need to be there.
Yeah, if your vehicle's driving you to work, it's like an office. Right. You're not having to drive. You're just sitting in a seat working or doing what you need to do. You could be video conferencing or whatever, and people will start to spread out.
Yeah.
I hate to get graphic, but I'm fucking ready for that.
Oh, I am too.
Excuse my French, but
no. Hey, I haven't been swearing as much as I usually do.
All right.
I've been toning it down.
I'm gonna turn it up.
I was a bartender for 12 years.
There's no FCC here, so we're
no FCC.
Hey, yeah.
I'm literally. You have you don't have no clue.
Yeah, I swear like a fucking sailor, like, all the time.
I feel better.
Well, they say you're like they say that people who swear a lot are more honest.
I agree with
Some
that.
people like to disagree and say that you have a limited vocabulary. I think not. I think
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't know.
It just has that.
Tony Robbins. You ever heard Tony cuss? He does.
He does. Yes, I have heard him cuss.
You know why?
I have heard him cuss in one thing.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But Tony, and I wish I had this fresh in my mind. Tony said that words are powerful.
Yes.
And they invoke something inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like some words are so strong.
Oh, yes. Powerful.
He uses those words. So like telling me that I'm not intelligent because I use cuss words is I think if that's your default is to cuss when you're out of frustration and out of anger and you can't articulate or communicate, that's one thing.
See, that's different when you're angry at somebody and you don't know what else to say.
But I can say fuck 50 different ways and it means 50 different things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what Tony invokes when he's trying to shock somebody into paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Or shock them out of that thing.
Yeah.
So I think words are powerful, including
Absolutely.
They've done studies too that show that when you use swear words, you actually use a different part of your brain.
Really?
those. That's awesome.
I do that a lot then.
Because
My part of that brain must have been
cursing
like, fighting it out.
cursing actually makes you feel less pain too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do that when I get hurt for sure.
Yeah.
But no,
I can finally cuss around my parents.
Hey.
Actually, I didn't start cussing around my parents until just like 4, 5, 6 years ago. Probably 6 years ago. It's been like 6 years. But like now I'm so comfortable with it.
Yeah.
That, like I'll start saying fuck this, fuck that, like in front of my mom. And it's like my bonus dad will be there, Mickey. And he's like, Jen, calm it down.
Yeah, just
Talk to your mother. You better stop. Rhode Island accents. It's funny.
Oh yeah.
I started when I was very young, and they didn't like it very much, but it just stuck. And my children, I think, I don't know why. I think like 13. I'm not Jewish, but I feel like I agree with the Jews on this. If you're a 13-year-old, you're basically an adult on some level. So like when my kid's 10. If he says something now, I will laugh about it and I'll be like, hey, bro, you can't say that.
Well, he knows. Yeah. He should know right from wrong.
He does. He does.
Know?
But at 13, like if he wants to be like, I'm fucking over it, I'm kind of gonna be like, if it's me and him, the right setting, I'm gonna be cool.
Right.
But like not in front of your little brothers. Let's be respectful around your mom.
Absolutely, and I agree with that too. It's like, I grew up in a family where like we weren't allowed to swear. It's like I remember the first time I accidentally said bitch like in front of my mother, and it was like the biggest deal. It was such a big deal.
Yeah.
She was like, she's
you're
very
not from
traditional.
The South.
No,
because if you were, bitch is just a female dog. So,
right? Yeah. See, we don't. I didn't know that. I didn't know that shit. It's like I repeated something I saw on TV, whatever. Anyway, but I forgot what I was getting at. I lost my train of thought.
You said you remember the first time you cussed in front of your parents, or you bitch in front of your mom.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm totally comfortable with it now.
It's funny. I remember when I was a kid, so when I was really young, my parents weren't very religious or anything. They became religious when I was about 8, maybe. My grandparents were. Well, my grandmother was, but and other people in my family were. But my immediate family, they weren't. And my mom would, curse. My parents would curse around me and stuff some, but I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
I hate the hypocrisy.
I remember my mom would literally call. I shouldn't say it. She'll be mad if she saw this, and she's very religious now. So
yeah.
I don't curse around my mother, but out of respect. But
right, out of respect, I understand that.
She would call me like a little shit or something. She'd upset at me, and I remember saying shit to her one day, and she smacked me in the mouth.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my parents never really cursed in front of me ever as a kid.
I mean,
I really learned curse words from my uncle.
There you go, a good uncle.
Yeah, he'd be like playing guitar and he'd like throw a little swear word.
Oh yeah. Well,
he'd be like, Carl, stop.
Well, my daughter, she's 4.5, and I watch my language around her.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't want her to develop bad habits,
right.
and I want to teach her like there's social norms in society.
Yeah.
But I tell her that words aren't bad. It's the intention behind the word.
I agree with that.
It is.
And I still let her hear these words because I don't want it to be taboo to her. Like when somebody says "fuck," she doesn't like freak out.
Right, because she doesn't understand. The whole.
And by the way, it's
what it means.
That word's an acronym anyway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So. Technically, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it's but I don't want her to be sensitive to words.
Right.
Because all words have a use,
and
I want her to be able to use words however she needs to use them.
Yeah. Right, absolutely.
I mean, sugar, honey, iced tea. I get it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Similarly, actually, my roommate, Good friend of mine.
I don't want to use those words.
My roommate has a 12-year-old, and so I've spent a lot of time with her through COVID, and she and I bonded and everything because she had to do school. Like, she just went back to school like last week.
I'm sure she was probably nervous, but she's probably thankful.
I mean, it's funny because like during COVID, like she was like, I just want to go back to school. This sucks. This is hard. Blah blah blah. And it's like she just didn't know how to email. Like she just had to learn how to do all these things because at the time she was still 11. She just turned 12. But it's like her parents are like, you know, they're my age. You know, they're a little bit older than me. They're, you know, they try to teach her different things. She's actually so intelligent for her age. It's like talking to a 27-year-old in like an 11-year-old's body.
Kids are growing up fast now.
Yeah. It's like, I know she's 12 now, but it's like, so she'll swear. We'll talk to each other and we'll swear, but like not like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like when I hear it come out of her sometimes I'm like, it's because like I was raised for it to be like a bad thing.
Right.
But it's like, if she's rapping along to this Nicki Minaj song or some shit. Oh my God. I told her, I was like, honey, if you're going to blast anything, please don't blast that.
Right. Yeah.
She'll blast it downstairs. I'm upstairs. Like, it's a big house. We separate. It's fine. Yeah. It's like, I want to go downstairs and make some coffee and I don't want to.
I'm trying to figure out if it's Nicki that does that. Broke boys don't deserve no. That's right. You ever heard that one?
I probably. Yeah, my friend Taylor listens to that stuff, and so when she's in my car, she likes to play these things.
I'm not a big Nicki Minaj fan.
Well, I don't know if it's Nicki.
I don't listen to that shit. No, I'm old school. I listen to like.
Let's hear it.
Old school rock. Like I like 90s grunge and Nirvana. And,
I'm more of a rock person.
Like,
yeah.
You know.
I like some electronic stuff too, but
I do too. Yeah. You know, I like Hippie Sabotage. They're one of my favorites. They just started following me on Instagram.
That's awesome. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, because I've been featuring like in my videos. I've been putting their music on there.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, that's so dope. Man,
it's cool that they were cool about it too.
I like Hippie Sabotage, 2 Feet. I listen to all sorts of stuff, like random shit that I don't even know the names of. But then like, I mean, it depends on my mood. Like I switch moods.
I'm like that too. Actually, it's funny because I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
I'll be 41 in 2 months.
Wow.
But as you get older, you get sort of jaded with things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll go through phases where it's like nothing sounds appealing.
Yeah, nothing.
And
then I go to podcasts or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll start listening to audiobooks or podcasts. Yeah. I just can't find any music that really just
vibes with your mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm listening to Ozzy Osbourne to
like
get me going sometimes when I'm painting.
Yeah. It's like I really want to listen to some music, but the music I want to listen to doesn't exist right now.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe it doesn't exist yet. Maybe that means you need to make some music. Who knows?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. But like, I like Marilyn Manson and shit.
I love some Manson, actually.
Oh, it's great.
And when
he's a terrible person, but he has some cool music.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But the music
when I was growing up, I was
awesome.
There was like definitely like prior to like 13 that I was not allowed to fuck with it.
Yeah.
About 13, I started doing what I wanted, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
No, sorry, mom and dad, but they know it's true.
Yeah.
But
that's all good.
I still felt guilty from like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 when I would listen to it. Because
for sure.
God is watching me listen to this music. But anyway, that went away. I actually love I'll go through Manson phases where I'll be like,
I listened to Nothing But It for a while, and then
in this moment, I'll go through like this. I don't know if you call it metal, but I just go through this phase.
Yeah.
So the other thing is we've got some partners. It's nice because I'll be like in some weird mood, and then Gunny, he listens to completely different music than I do, and it's nice because I'll have that
more
feeling.
Like blues and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have like
nice
that. He just gets a curveball, and you're like, oh yeah.
You hear a sound that really hits you.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah. That's nice.
I'm vibing with this.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's I go from like angsty music to chill music.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like so different. You're like, what do you? It's like the only music I don't really listen to much is country. I'm also from up north, so raised in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Like,
I like some country music, but I don't listen to it much because of the accent. Because I've worked really hard to neutralize my accent.
Yeah.
And if I start listening to that a lot,
good accent. Well, I was actually going to ask where you're from.
Well, that's good because I used to sound very Southern. And,
okay. Well, you said Ashboro, right?
Yeah, I got into acting 8 years ago, and when I got into acting school,
that's
the first thing they told me. Like, your job is to articulate to people and communicate with people, so you have to be able to speak English.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was a little.
And country's not English.
No,
yeah, it's very confusing. It was a culture shock. Just moving to Florida, and like, cause it's a melting pot of people in Florida.
Yeah.
It's not just country. It's like people from all over. But like the first time I remember,
It's all the worst people from all over.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, you have no idea.
Depends on where you're
I mean, I have a few friends down there, and they're cool. But
We've had some clients in Florida.
I have a handful of people, but a lot of those people are fucking crazy. It's like there's got to be something in the water. Maybe the heat gets to their head.
It's a strange place. Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're trying to kill off Florida because like they're literally losing their minds.
Just break it off and push it out in the ocean.
It's so weird. I mean, well, they're going to be the first one to go. When the water rises,
Southern Florida,
they said it's just going to be gone.
Yeah,
It's already
Miami's
below sea level.
Yeah.
Miami's totally fucked. They're going to be gone.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I say I want to be a little further up. I like the Gulf instead of the East Coast. Miami's is too crazy for me. It probably needs to go under.
I like St. Pete. Yeah,
I love
Gulf Coast.
So
Well,
what
you
you just
can't
said
stop
is
Miami. We'll just keep moving up.
I was 10 seconds from saying St. Pete Beach.
Yes, it's
Literally.
my favorite beach there. That's where my friend
Have you
and
been
I.
to the pier yet?
Yeah. Oh,
The new pier?
not the new pier. No, but
It's
I have
the
a friend that just went there and she took pictures, and I definitely want to go.
Most traveled pier in the country right now.
Wow.
Nuh-uh. Well, I
100%.
mean, after
It
the
is-
pictures that my friend took
it's
being up there,
amazing.
just what she posted on Facebook, I was like, "Damn, April,
It's
that's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. It's amazing. There's like a whole artsy vibe on the way out. There's all these
Yeah.
street performers, and then you get out, and the aquarium's out there, and then I mean, it's just they nailed it.
Maybe it's a good thing that the old one was kind of destroyed. I mean, everything happens for a reason.
100%.
Sometimes the worst things in life turn into the best things.
Yeah, Dr. Barbecue, by the way. Next time, I don't know if you've done Dr. Barbecue while you're there, but that's my little spot. There's a couple little Cuban like hole in the wall spots.
Yeah. They like good food.
Oh, yeah.
Like especially like Cuban food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like you're closer to Cuba technically.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
I don't know,
things.
but that's my spot.
But yeah.
So I think I'm far enough up that we're above sea level that when it takes Florida, I should be safe there.
Yeah.
That's what I like
There
to
you
think.
go. Yeah. I will visit Florida. I will never, ever move back.
Yeah.
I think
I had
there's
an ex-boyfriend that he and I broke up, and one of the reasons was because like he wanted to move to Florida and I didn't.
Oh.
there's like 5 months a year that I love Florida.
Yeah.
4 to 5, and the rest of the year I don't want to be there.
It's a good place to
Yeah.
make your residence though, because there's no income tax.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you could,
Oh, it's so cheap. Oh my gosh, it's so cheap to live in Florida. Like
Yeah.
it's so fucking cheap. Like you think that North Carolina would be cheap too, because like North Carolina,
pretty
it's
cheap,
the South. It's cheap
reasonably.
comparatively to other places, right? But you have state tax,
it's
Yeah.
not bad though. It's
And-
5%, so it's one of the
right?
lower ones.
But for instance, the whole car tax thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I was a Florida resident for the first like 5 years that I lived here. Like no joke. Like hopefully this doesn't go on record and I get in trouble.
No,
It's
nobody's
it's
watching
already,
this.
I mean, I'm a North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina resident now, and I have a license, and it's real and it's valid, and I have a vehicle and all the things. Anyway, but it's like I paid $35 a year in Florida to renew my tags. You didn't have to get an inspection on your car. You didn't have to go through any bullshit. I did it online.
Yeah.
I did it online every year for 5 years, living in North Carolina, and they mailed it to me in North Carolina and didn't even ask why.
Yeah, the property taxes here are kind of crazy. Like you're leasing everything you own from the government, basically.
Yeah.
It's strange.
So weird.
There's some ways around that, but I'll just say you should
Yeah.
do some research about other states like Wyoming and stuff that you can, if you have corporations and businesses and you operate out of country. Yeah, so you should. We can
there's
talk
always
later,
a
but
loophole, isn't there?
yeah, well, I mean, if you own businesses out of state, you can have cars registered there and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, my
And you're an
business
artist,
is
so you
registered
could actually
here.
do that. Yeah.
well, yeah, but maybe you need
I could
to
register it in another state, though, right?
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went from
You still have to
$35 a
pay.
year.
You still have to pay
Montana.
income tax where you do the work at, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you were working in California doing murals out there, you'd have
Right.
to pay income tax on those murals.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so based on the value of your vehicles, they do the car tax thing, when you first transfer over, whatever. It's like, and apparently it's like I went from $35 a year, and it would be every year on my birthday, and it's like is it January for everybody here? Is that how it works?
I think it's June for some people, like June 30th, maybe.
So that's so weird, because like I was expecting it to be on my birthday.
Actually, they've changed it, so maybe it is January now. Maybe it's everything's on the same
don't-
schedule.
I think so. I can't.
Yeah, these things that I didn't know,
I just
and
paid it.
so that I didn't like renew it in time, and I was like pulled over, and I was like freaking out. I was like, why was I pulled over? I don't know what I did wrong. It's because I was expecting to renew, in June. It's my birth month,
What's your birthday?
June 14th.
Okay, mine's 30th.
Oh, cool, yeah. Gemini?
Cancer.
Or you're technically a Cancer, okay, yeah. I'm Gemini.
I gotta ask, though. I've been getting asked a lot lately about the signs. They're like, what's your sign? I have no clue. They're like, when's your birthday? October 3rd. And they're like, oh, are you this? And they're looking it up. I'm like, what is the deal with that?
I don't care about that stuff either.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've gotten
Astrology.
more into it over the past few years just because I've met people that have been into it and I learn about it. But there are certain qualities of Gemini that just interest me. Like they're like, we're most likely to be famous. And I'm like, ooh, I like that. I'll take that one and I'll run with that.
Yeah.
But all the other, like, you're crazy and, it's like we're all a little crazy, aren't we?
100%.
Sure, yeah.
I think that's a part of life.
Yeah.
But also Geminis.
Well, it's just the spectrum of normal is very broad.
True. I've also learned about Geminis, like we tend to get along with pretty much anybody. Like I can talk to anyone from, rich, poor, young, old, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I can talk to pretty much anybody. And that's why I made a good bartender too.
I think most people have a lot more in common than they realize.
Yeah. They really do.
Yeah, 'cause we're all the same thing.
Yeah.
So
True.
But everybody's different though. Like, the astrology stuff, and I was talking to somebody about this last night. The astrology stuff is interesting. It's like two Geminis can be two completely different people.
yeah.
Completely different people. And,
What's the social construct, right?
it's also nature versus nurture. It's how you're raised. If you're raised to be a certain way, if you're raised to behave a certain way or believe a certain thing, it's kind of like, you're raised to be a racist person or things like that. It's like, you can be.
I think some of those things are true. So where I differ is, I don't spank my children. There's a whole long story as to why
I was
it started.
never spanked either. Yeah.
But now I got spanked. We'll use that term.
I did too, yeah.
We'll use the
I
term
don't spank. We don't spank our already.
But I'll tell you, so let's say that you hit someone. Mm-hmm. Most people, like if you hit a dog, most dogs are going to cower, stick their tail between their legs, and they're going to whimper, right?
Yeah.
And some dogs, when you hit them, they'll attack you, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are the same way. So like my family, right, didn't make me. When I got hit, I chose how to respond, right? And there was no thought process. So as a child, I was extremely aggressive. Like if you came at me aggressively, I responded with.
So you just naturally had that.
I naturally had it.
Yeah.
There
I was
wasn't
taught to be that way.
There wasn't. There wasn't the retreat, right? Whereas I've seen some children cower. I don't know if that's the right word, but they retract.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like they stop. Yeah.
And then, but some
it's fight or flight. Yeah.
It's fight or flight. But
flight,
but that may not be. Maybe it is trained. I don't know. But some of that is like.
Some of it's just genetic. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff interests me. Like, why do we talk about this sometimes? Like, why do ants build anthills? Right? Why do we do what we do?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not to get too weird. I don't know. Were you something?
I like this. I like where this is going.
Yeah. Were you something in another life? Is this a reincarnation thing? Is this like me living it over and over and over again in the same thing, or is this just I have this innate thing that I have to create? Why do I do it every day? It's a curse too. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
But there's no amount of money that's going to stop it. And I mean, literally, it doesn't. I don't do it because of the money.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. It seems like the real life form is the code of life. It's the DNA. It's the structure that, and I'm sure there's a lot of our personalities and ideas and stuff come from just that shared information over millennia.
Yeah.
Well,
they say that if you had family that starved in your lineage, that there was something about that you're more likely to be overweight because
interesting.
You're somewhere down your path that your family was starving, like the food wasn't
scarce.
It was scarce.
Yeah.
And so now I'm not blaming me being overweight, and that I'm overweight because of poor choices and.
Do you know your family history?
Some of it.
Yeah.
I've researched. Most of them they're fighters.
Yeah, I know practically nothing.
If you look up the story, we have a shield that was given by one of the kings. There's a 300-year battle, a war that took place. Yeah. So, which to me kind of explains. At my level, I think there's 33 grandkids, and 31 are male. If you look at my family's predominantly men. Like the whole fight or flight thing. Like I think in another life, I'm a different person. I think I'd be highly intelligent but very violent 200 years ago. I think I think that probably fits that lineage, but who knows?
It takes a lot to piss me off.
Yeah, me too now.
I feel like the bartending did that too. It's like, because I've had to put up with so much shit.
Yeah. I think people are too offended. I let things roll off my back. Now, teens and early 20s, that wasn't
story.
Yeah. But you know, one of the things I was thankful about 30, I felt like I could breathe again.
Yeah.
And the testosterone kind of came down a little bit, and I could function and think.
I feel like I think a lot more clearly now that I'm in my 30s. You know, I'm going to be 32 in June, which, oh my God, it's so weird to say. But yeah, it's the 30s. Everything changed. It's like my mental state changed. Yeah. I also, you know, I've been doing yoga and meditation and stuff for the past like 6 years or so, and I do it regularly. So it helps. It helps me balance. You got to have a good balance.
I agree.
You know, and it's because, you know, I've been through depression and anxiety and this and that and the other thing my whole life. It's because I didn't know where I was going with my life. And when we were talking about this earlier, it's like that's why people become depressed, I think, is because they're not doing what they enjoy. Like they go to work at their 9-to-5 job in this little cubicle. They punch a bunch of numbers in all day long. They go home. They're so excited to go home. They, you know, sit on the couch and drink a beer and watch TV, eat some food and go to sleep. And they wake up and they do the same thing over again. And then they get excited about the weekends. Yeah. But I could never. Like, I don't want to just get excited about the weekends. I want to get excited about every day.
I agree.
Well, a lot of people take drugs to
escape,
mask their anxiety too. Yeah. And I feel like I have a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
But it drives me. I use it as a
driving
force. Yeah, it's a fuel to keep it keeps you motivated. Yeah. Like you know, I feel like if I blocked that anxiety, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be successful. You know, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
I think too, one of the big things for me and other people, I think it would benefit them as well, is just accepting who you are. Like I had to figure out who, not what society.
I'm still falling into that.
Yeah, but not what your parents want, not what your friends want, not what society wants.
Because we're raised to believe that we need to be a certain person.
I think that's hard to do for a lot of people too.
No, it is. Yeah. It is. It took me that. I'll tell you, and not to bring negative things into it, but when I finally was honest with myself, it took this tremendous amount of pressure off of me and anxiety and all this stress off of me. And then it became being extremely honest with other people about, and then I've faced some challenges with that.
Right.
But it is what it is. And so my go-to thing is well, would you rather me be honest with you, or would you rather me lie to you?
Right. And
this is how it is.
The best.
Right. This is how it is. And then it's up to the other person to go, hey, this is like, I'm not controlling you. I'm not telling you what you have. This is what I believe. This is how I live. This is my code.
It's your life.
And then you as an adult get to choose whether or not you want to be a part of it.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's that simple. It's like,
so when people get mad at other people for being a certain way or believing a certain thing, it's like, why? Like, how are they affecting you?
Exactly. Yeah. Change the channel.
It's like,
swipe left, swipe right,
be yourself,
unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Also, that has to do with the money thing too, is when people become very successful. You'd mentioned something, you were talking about selling out before the system.
Yeah.
When somebody becomes really successful at what they do, people call them a sellout, but that's not the case.
It's your own definition of what sellout
They're just,
is.
if you do something well enough, eventually there's some value to it. And but you don't do it for the money. It's like everything I do, I just do it because it's what I do. Right. And I enjoy creating. And whether it's business related or if it's art related, it's just about the creative process and watching something grow and thrive and become something. Like, that's exciting to me. Yeah. And I'm just going to keep doing it. Yeah. No matter how much money I make, I'm going to keep doing what I do. It's like watching you. Like, you're not an artist, but you're definitely a creator, and you're a really good business person or businessman, and you know, like, when I watch you work on projects and stuff, you enjoy the complexity of whatever you're working on. Like, you're looking at like the structure of the business and how it functions, and you're very analytical, and you like to break it apart and see why it does, why it works the way it works, how it works that way, what's the most efficient way to make it work. Yep. It's a constant puzzle to you. It's like you enjoy the creating solutions, like solving problems.
100%.
And I do too, so I understand that. But you don't. Money is like the side effect for what you do.
Yep.
You know, it's you make a lot of money because you solve big problems.
Yep.
And
I mean, it's funny you say that because I'm literally attracted to problems. I look like in our businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
And the
treat it
clients
as a challenge.
No,
I love doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Challenge.
nobody else wants
Challenge
it.
accepted. Yeah.
The house I'm in, the house we have, like it was a problem. Everything, like if you start to look, the things I acquire are problems I want to solve. It's kind of really interesting.
So what is it that you do, Dan?
Solve problems.
Solve problems.
Actually, that's what I started
he's
telling
a
people.
serial entrepreneur, so he owns a lot of businesses.
Okay.
But
So that's
yeah.
why when I talked about Gary Vee, you knew exactly who I was talking
100%.
about. Oh,
Yeah. So, and I'm also an autodidact. I constantly self-educate. Up to the last year, I read 100 books a year for the last decade. Prior to the last year, I think I read 54, 53. I'm way off this year. I'm like 8 books deep. So
if
far.
I have a business question, I go to him. If he has a science question, he comes to me.
100%.
I need to start reading more because
I
you
do
read
Gary.
just a chapter a day. You can read so much.
So, but I guess the difference for me is I try not to subscribe to. So, like, I'll be with Dave Ramsey in Texas. We were supposed to be in Nashville. We'll be in Texas in second week of May, I believe. And then I like Gary Vee. I also like Grant Cardone, Uncle G, right? And he's controversial, right? Literally, these guys couldn't be more different,
right?
right?
Yeah,
But I take pieces from everybody because I feel like you can learn something from anybody.
And I also feel like a lot of these guys that they kind of find a shtick.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
And they have a niche, and what they're teaching is really good for one type of person,
Right.
And
not necessarily everyone. Yeah.
Right. And I don't think they necessarily believe. I don't think just because you're teaching one idea doesn't mean that that's all you do or that applies to you individually. It's just a good way to help a certain segment of society reach a certain goal or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't like ideologies at all. Like I feel like I think life is way too complex to have one way to do things. And I think he's the same way. I think we see through it's like seeing through the matrix. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
yes, I love that. So we're raised to think that things are supposed to be a certain way.
Right. Yeah. And they're not.
It's like I remember as a kid, it was like this is how it is. This is how that is. This is how this is.
I didn't believe
what's
them.
real. This is what's
I
not.
didn't either.
You know?
Nobody knows. That's the real answer.
So
Nobody knows.
we got this thing where I'm working on, and I've got the concept together. I'm working Tanner Plains, and I'm talking about doing this. He's an influencer. He does other stuff too, but we're partners as well. And we had a mentor-mentee relationship for a while. Now we're partners as well. But we were on a podcast with somebody, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. It's been a few weeks ago, and he was talking about essentially. Some people may get frustrated or may feel like they just don't have a way to create or to get out of the hole, right? And I basically made a comment. I was like, I can take and buy cases of water and sell them on the side of the road. I can go find change on the ground, go buy a case of water, go sell the waters for $1 a bottle at the intersection, and I'll start a business.
That's an entrepreneur mindset, right there.
So I'm going to start a business from scratch, literally from change I found on the road. So we've kind of plotted out like this plan, and I'm going to do it, and Tanner's going to help put all the stuff together, but. I'm literally going to start from change I find on the ground and try and build, like in 30 days, build like, a $20,000 or $30,000 thing quick from zero.
Awesome.
With no resources, like, and I like that's the way my mind works.
That's
like,
cool. Have you talked to Gary Vee yet? Have you
been
on his show?
No.
You could just send him a few emails. Like he answers his emails. And if you email him enough and you bug him enough about it, like. He will have you on his Tea with Gary Vee.
That's awesome.
I listen to it more so than watch it because I'm usually working on something. But yeah, he would totally talk to you about that shit. He loves that. I mean, that's how he did the whole like lemonade stand shit and buying something, selling it for more, and things like that as a kid. You just. You have that mindset. Some people have it, It's really cool.
I think everybody can do it. It's just, I think everyone has the potential to do it, but they've got to have these things. They have to change the mindset. They've got to have somebody introduce this. There's got to be some outside influence to change, to let them know, because our families, grandparents, whoever raises us, whoever we grew up around, are the ones that place us in a box. They don't do it. They don't do it because they hate us. They do it out of love, right?
Yeah.
And what your parents...
Or fear.
Yeah, or fear.
Yeah.
And what they thought was possible is what you think is possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And so it's like I've stepped out of that recently, my 30s, but like the energy that you have in just talking about like that fire that you have within you, it's like that's how you know that you're doing the right thing. It's, entrepreneurship and, so you're really going to do big things with that.
If
like,
I'm
that's
not,
really cool.
If I don't do that, I'm in
you get a high off of it.
Depressed state. 100%.
You get a high off of it. It's like how I get a high off of painting a giant mural on scaffolding. Yeah. It's like really high up in the air, and it freak other people out, but I love it.
You'll get depressed if you don't do it, right?
Absolutely.
That's what will happen.
If you're not doing what
I had an 8-month window where basically had to start over, worse than start over, started in the hole. I had an 8-month window, and I was... and I say it now, but I mean that's clearly what it was. It was highly depressed for 8 months, but I wasn't creating. I wasn't solving problems. I literally was just like just existing.
Yeah, I did that, and I told him earlier. I didn't paint at all for 6 years after I graduated college with my art degree. 6 years, I was just bartending, and so like anytime I wasn't bartending, I was with that bartending crowd. I had my bartender friends. Had my regular friends, and like so like when I wasn't working, I was drinking, and I worked a lot. So but it was like a way to like ease the pain of not doing what I'm supposed to do, because I would show people some of the artwork that I did in college, like my regulars, or like people would come up to the bar, we get talking about shit, and it's it's slow day, and just, talking about whatever, and then the art thing comes up. Oh, let me see your work, and I'm showing them like my website, my phone, whatever. I don't know if I had a website at that point, but definitely had social media and stuff. And I'm just showing them pictures of my work. They're like, "What the fuck are you doing bartending?"
Yeah.
100%.
It's like, first of all, you have your bachelor's degree, and you're like really fucking good. What are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, money. It's like, because I didn't believe, like I honestly didn't believe that I could make a full-time living off of art at that point in my life. I really just, because I was like, I could sell a painting, but what if nobody buys this painting? What if nobody, that's why I got into murals, because I was like, aha. And I heard people were making big money, making big murals, and I always loved working big, and taught myself the spray paint, I had to teach myself how to do it, and trial and error, lots of cussing and frustration, kicking things. This one time I threw a can because I was so fucking pissed off. I was like just trying to get this line straight, and I couldn't get it, and I was like, oh, I was doing it over and over, and I just got so mad. I was like, and I like threw it onto like gravel, and so one of the rocks punctured the can. The can's just flying. There's paint flying everywhere, and I'm like, oh shit, this is bad. So I'm like chasing after it. I got paint all over me. It was funny, but yeah, I just like I honestly did not believe that I could do this, and I've been doing this full time for a year. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, being an entrepreneur is kind of scary because you have to step out on your own. There's nobody to answer to but yourself.
Yeah.
This is the thing, like, and this is this whole risk versus reward, and maybe risk versus reward is something as simple as, if I open that cookie jar and my mom catches me, she might smack my hand, right? But the reward is I could eat the cookie, right? The risk is my hand might get smacked. And I think the problem is people want to guarantee, right? But guarantee, the closest thing you're going to get to a guarantee is a job, and a job is just over broke. Because really,
yes, I love that. I forgot who I heard that from, but just over broke, 100%. Absolutely. That's what a job is. Because
your employer, you have to meet the bottom line. The job is for the employer is to make sure that the company is profitable.
Yep.
So you're at some point you're just a cog in a wheel.
Yeah, you're not even a human anymore.
No, you got to step out on your own.
Yeah.
You got to step out on your own, but in doing so, you're taking a risk, right? And the risk is there's no guaranteed outcome. But if you're really smart, you understand that a job is not a guarantee either.
No, because that company could go out of business.
Exactly.
I don't know what I'm going to be doing 6 months from now.
Exactly.
I love no clue.
Being an entrepreneur.
I'm sure I'll be doing something.
To me, just means that you're flexible. Like you are flexible. You're going to make it happen. Like for me, that's what it means. It means
I always figure it out.
You'll figure it out. That's the key.
Problem solve.
Exactly.
Challenge accepted. They're like, can you paint this? And I'm like, can I not?
Exactly.
It's like I'll figure it out.
Right.
I may have never painted something like that before, but I know how to paint, so I'll figure it out.
We'll bid on contracts. I don't worry about how to do it.
No.
We worry about landing the deal.
Oh,
we'll figure out how to do it later.
Exactly. That's what I do too. It's like the whole like painting the whole lake scene. It's like, you know, even in oil paint, like I wasn't like a lake scene kind of painter ever.
Right,
like I've never done that, but like I knew that I could paint those kayaks to look badass, because like any objects I could paint to look realistic. But I was like,
painting water is a technique, right? I mean, you just have to learn how the reflections work.
Yeah, I had to figure it out. I had to make I made my own stencils out of like cardboard. And so like I think I
saw you doing.
Yeah. I just put up a video the other day, and that was crazy. I posted that reel, and it's like in 1 hour I had like over 1.5 thousand views. Like so fast. I love the reels.
Yeah,
I love the reels. But yeah, I made my own stencils. And I made like little wave marks in them, and I had like 100 of them. And so it's like I have gloves on, and I'm making all the ripples in the water, and I'm layering the colors and making it kind of look as realistic as possible. I could have kept going on it, honestly. I could have kept painting on that painting for the next year if I could.
Yeah, so many fine details.
Yeah, it's like so much, but like I think it came out pretty good though.
Yeah, it looks really awesome. Yeah,
I figured it out. I don't know if I ever want to do a lake scene again. But that's how you learn, you know. And I learned how to paint different things by having different commissions, as we were talking about earlier. Like I'm disappointed sometimes in myself because I haven't found my own particular style. The only thing about me is like I like to make murals that look like oil paintings. It's the only thing that I stand by at this point until I kind of figure out my own whatever. It'll come naturally. But yeah, you learn something new from every project, and I think that's pretty cool.
And also, you can only invest as much time in that piece as they're able to pay you to invest.
I mean, they need to open the brewery at some point. It's Paddled South Brewing. It's on 602 North Main Street in High Point.
Hey.
It's directly to the right of the BB&T. But it was a really cool project. Really, like, all the people there, like the owners, super nice people, like, really great group. And they're, like, so close to the baseball stadium. I was actually, the last night that I painted there, the last night I was taking photos of the painting at least, because I had to take some day shots and some night shots because, like, the way the light hit it and during the day was a little strange, so take photo-wise. I could hear the baseball stadium. I could hear people cheering and stuff. I was like, oh, they're playing baseball again. Oh, wow, they're really close to the stadium.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I didn't realize how close it was.
Means they'll
it's pretty cool.
Get a lot of business from the stadium.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's why they chose that location, because it's so convenient. And it's a beautiful spot. Yeah, the interior design stuff in there is really cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, really neat.
Definitely. Cool stuff.
Well, Jenna, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. And
thank you.
How can people find you? Want to give out your social media information?
Oh, yeah.
Website?
You can find me pretty much on any platform, anywhere, at Jenna Rice Art. It's always at Jenna Rice Art, jennariceart.com. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'm everywhere. YouTube, Jenna Rice Art.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've changed the YouTube name a few times so it can get a little confusing, but I just changed it to Jenna Rice Art so it's like seamless, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to confuse people, you know.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. It makes it easier. That way, no matter what platform, they know how to look at you. You got TikTok yet?
I do have TikTok. I don't use it as much as I should, you know.
Is it Jenna Rice Art as well?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Always Jenna Rice Art.
Awesome.
Yeah, on every platform.
Very cool.
Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. You know, it's fun. But yeah, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
We had some really good conversation. This is great.
We'll have to have you on again.
Yeah,
sure.
Thank you. I would love that.
We're gonna have to get her. We're gonna have to commission something. We gotta.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we can.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll put. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I can put yours next to the mats. I've got one in my office. We'll have to figure out some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I could do mural or canvas paintings. I'm still doing both.
Oh yeah, she's a fine artist.
Or the gym.
Oil.
Mm-hmm. I could do oil, acrylic.
You used to do big, like 4x6 oil paintings?
I used to do 6 foot by, I did a bunch of 6 foot by 4 foot oil paintings in college.
Huge, yeah.
I did like a series, they weren't all 6 foot by 4 foot, a couple of them were smaller, but in college I did a series of 5 of them and it took me a year, a school year, you know, 2 semesters to paint for the most part. But yeah,
awesome.
It was fun. I love all the mediums and all the things, and still trying to find my way. But I guess overall, I just want to inspire people to, you know, to try new things and figure out what really drives you, you know, and art is what drives me. Even if I don't have my particular style figured out yet, I at least know that I love making murals and I love spray paint, and I love working big and doing big things. And I think it's going to take me some pretty cool places.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're on your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're on the path.
And I'll give back on the way, you know, teach others how to do it.
Absolutely.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, be sure to follow Jenna Rice Art, wherever she's at. And if you guys enjoyed the episode, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Later.
you.
See you.